Chapter 2365. Why wouldn't I dare? Mo Qingyun was unmoved by the remnant spirits berating and directly put away the blood crystal. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, the remnant spirit immediately panicked, but it was too late to stop it. Helpless, the remnant spirit could only flash and return to the blood crystal decisively. Although Mo Qingyun was a little surprised by the remnant spirit's action, he did not pay too much attention to it. The way he saw it, it was enough to get the blood crystal in his hands. Other things could be dealt with slowly. Putting away the blood crystal, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate at all and immediately flew toward the dark corrosion feet poisonous bug swarm. Dare to snatch our things, courting death. Cunning human, deserve to die. Chase, don't let him escape. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was about to escape, the red-shelled demonic bug that was fighting with the remnant spirit immediately chased after him furiously. Under the pursuit of the red-shelled demonic bug, Mo Qingyun fled with all his might and soon arrived near the dark corrosion feet poisonous bug swarm. Retreat. Arriving near the dark corrosion feet poisonous bug swarm, Mo Qingyun instructed them and began to retreat with them. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, the Bug King and Bug Queen began to give orders to lead the dark corrosion feet poisonous bug swarm to retreat. Following that, the two sides, one chased and one fled, entering a stalemate situation. Due to the battle with the remnant spirit, the red-shelled demonic bug strength was greatly reduced. Therefore, even though they chased crazily, they could not do anything to Mo Qingyun. On the contrary, under the attack of Mo Qingyun and the dark corrosion feet poisonous bug swarm, the red-shelled demonic bug even paid a huge price. Several hours later, retreating and fleeing all the way, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of the greenish-purple fog, and his hanging heart was completely relieved. Master, quickly enter the bug nest. We will escort you out. Standing beside the greenish-purple fog, Zhuanya immediately transmitted his voice to Mo Qingyun, preparing to escort Mo Qingyun through the fog. Okay. Hearing Zhuanya's reminder, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and took out the hive. After taking out the worm nest, Mo Qingyun did not delay at all. He walked straight into the worm nest. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had entered the nest, Zhuanya led the dark corrosive feet venomous bugs to carry the nest into the purple fog. Damn it, just you wait. This debt isn't over yet. Seeing Mo Qingyun and the swarm of heaven nirvana corroding feet entering the purple mist, the leader of the red-shelled demonic insects roared angrily. They were very clear about the toxicity of the greenish-purple mist. It was not something they could overcome. After letting out an angry roar, the red-armored demonic insects returned to the forest of leg hairs with a strong sense of unwillingness. Phew, that was close. Seeing that the red demonic insects had all retreated, Mo Qingyun's hanging heart finally relaxed. This time, it was really dangerous. If he had not subdued the dark corrosive feet venomous bugs, he would have been in a desperate situation facing the red-shelled demonic insects. Mo Qingyun's mood eased slightly, but it immediately became tense again. He said solemnly, "The remnant spirit's strength is not at its peak. Now is the best time to deal with it. We can't give it time to recover." As Mo Qingyun thought of this, a sense of urgency rose in his heart. In a flicker, he entered the Fortune mainland. Without the red-shelled demonic insects to share the pressure, once the remnant spirit recovered its strength, Huang Xiaolong would have no way to deal with it. At least, at the current stage, with his current strength, he could not compete with the remnant spirit at its peak. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered several times, and he arrived near the blood crystal. He saw the remnant spirit sitting cross-legged and cultivating. Under the concentrated cultivation of the remnant spirit, waves of pure blood energy were extracted from the blood crystal. The remnant spirit was refining the blood crystal's energy, recovering the strength it had lost in the battle. It has recovered to late-stage nebula realm, such a fast recovery speed. Sensing the remnant spirit's momentum, Mo Qingyun's heart thumped. He exhaled deeply and said, "Fortunately, It has not recovered to peak nebula realm, otherwise it would be difficult to deal with it. At this moment, Mo Qingyun rejoiced. Fortunately, he had come to take a look. Otherwise, if the remnant spirit was allowed to cultivate for another half a day, the situation would not be optimistic. I can't let it cultivate anymore. I have to deal with it immediately. Looking at the remnant spirit in front of him, Mo Qingyun grinned and prepared to attack it. Just as Mo Qingyun was about to attack, he attracted the remnant spirit's attention, causing it to withdraw from its cultivation. "It's that brat." Sensing Mo Qingyun's appearance, the remnant spirit sneered. Its face was full of pride as it said, "Brat, I really have to thank you this time. If you had not brought me away, I would not have been able to deal with the bloodthirsty crystal beetle. No need to be so polite. I didn't do it to save you. I just wanted to snatch the blood crystal." Mo Qingyun explained indifferently. He glanced at the blood crystal, then turned to the remnant spirit and said, "Since the bloodthirsty crystal beetle was unable to kill you, let me send you on your way, lest you continue to struggle at death's door. You want to kill me with just you?" The remnant spirit smiled disdainfully at Mo Qingyun's words and said, "Previously, because of the bloodthirsty crystal beetle's interference, I could not deal with you wholeheartedly, but it is different now." Mo Qingyun did not pay attention to the remnant spirit's words. With a thought, he brought it to the gray area. Just as Mo Qingyun had guessed, as soon as the remnant spirit entered the gray area, it was eroded by the gray energy. This is primordial qi. How can there be so much primordial qi here? Being eroded by the gray energy, the remnant spirit immediately revealed a shocked expression as if it had seen a ghost. Hearing the remnant spirit's words, Mo Qingyun also revealed a shocked expression. He knew what the gray energy was. So it was primordial qi. No wonder Mo Qingyun had always felt that the gray energy was of a very high level, even higher than the power of creation. What is this place? How can there be so much primordial qi? Resisting the erosion of the primordial qi, the remnant spirit's face was filled with curiosity as it quickly scanned its surroundings. After a round of scanning, the remnant spirit's expression became even more shocked, as if it had made a major discovery. It exclaimed, This is an absolute beginning world, an absolute beginning world that is still growing. This brat can control this world. Could he be?" After this discovery, the remnant spirit's gaze towards Mo Qingyun immediately changed greatly. "Brat, I didn't expect you to have such an identity. It really surprises me." While it was shocked by Mo Qingyun's identity, the greed in the remnant spirit's eyes became even more intense. It said, "If I can seize this body and be reborn, not to mention surpassing my original body's peak, it won't be difficult for me to dominate the entire heaven realm in the future." It's useless to talk so much nonsense. Beat me first. Although Mo Qingyun was very curious about what the remnant spirit said, he did not pay too much attention to it. Chapter 2366. Holy Glory Ability. Ignite. Dragon Origin Tyrant Body. Yin-Yang Dual Pupils. Rising Dragon Heaven Blade. Facing an existence like the remnant spirit, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to hold back at all. He attacked with all his might. This was because if Mo Qingyun held back, he might be killed by the remnant spirit before he could even use his trump card. He wasn't willing to do such an idiotic thing. Petty tricks. The remnant spirit sneered in disdain at Mo Qingyun's ability. "Kid, if this is all you've got, I can only tell you clearly that you're not even qualified to scratch my itch." World-devouring gate. The remnant spirit's hands moved quickly, releasing a dazzling black light that turned into a mysterious hand seal. After the hand seal was formed, it flew above the remnant spirit's body and turned into a black gate of light. Following that, a terrifying, devouring force was emitted from the black gate of light. Under this terrifying, devouring force, Mo Qingyun's abilities were immediately sucked into the gate of light. What a domineering ability! Seeing the remnant spirit's ability, Mo Qingyun was shocked and became even more respectful towards it. Although the remnant spirit's strength was greatly reduced, the ability it used was still very powerful. Luckily, I'm not going to fight the remnant spirit head-on. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he also felt a sense of relief. His nervous heart relaxed a little. Although the remnant spirit's ability was powerful, as long as he didn't fight it head-on, the remnant spirit couldn't do anything to him. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's mind flashed with a bad idea. I'll take the blood crystal away. Let's see how you're going to drag this out with me. With a thought, Mo Qingyun moved the blood crystal away, cutting off the remnant spirit's chance to recover. Without the blood crystal to recover its strength, the remnant spirit would definitely be killed if it continued to fight him for a long time. As soon as the blood crystal was moved away, the remnant spirit immediately discovered it. It panicked and shouted, "You're also a cunning villain. You actually stole my blood crystal. Hurry up and return it to me." The remnant spirit had to panic. Without the blood crystal, it couldn't fight for a long time. This was undoubtedly a fatal weakness for it. "Return it to you?" Mo Qingyun curled his lips at the remnant spirit's request. He glanced at the remnant spirit in disdain and said, "I took it with my own ability. Why should I return it to you? If you have the ability, then take it back from me." Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the remnant spirit knew that it was useless to say more. Its expression became cold and said, "Brat, if you have any other tricks up your sleeves." "As you wish." Mo Qingyun nodded with a faint smile and summoned Zuanya and Zuopan. Although the remnant spirit was powerful, it wasn't difficult for Zuanya and Zuopan to restrain it. After summoning Zuanya and Zuopan, Mo Qingyun's expression was solemn as he ordered them, "Zuanya, Zuopan, attack with me. Don't fight it head-on. Exhaust its strength bit by bit." Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Zuanya and Zuanya immediately nodded. Zuanya and Zuopan immediately nodded and attacked the remnant spirit. "You want to exhaust me to death." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the remnant spirit guessed his intentions and couldn't help but frown. Without the blood crystal to replenish its strength, a long battle was too disadvantageous for it. Understanding Mo Qingyun's intentions, the remnant spirit immediately showed a determined expression and shouted, "Brat, you forced me to do this. You want to exhaust me to death bit by bit. I won't let you get what you want." As soon as the remnant spirit finished speaking, it became crazy and attacked Mo Qingyun wildly. But what made it helpless was that with Zuanya and Zuopan's help, its attacks couldn't hurt Mo Qingyun. The combined strength of Mo Qingyun and the other two was already above it. Moreover, Mo Qingyun and the other two were only restraining it and not fighting head-on. Of course, this wasn't the most important thing for the remnant spirit. The most fatal thing now was that it was in Mo Qingyun's world. It didn't even have a chance to escape. How did it become like this? When the remnant spirit thought of this, it felt a little desperate and sullen. Previously, the existence in its eyes was like an ant. Now it could decide its life and death. This huge psychological gap and the reversal of status was really hard for it to accept. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the remnant spirit's feelings at all. He focused on fighting with Zuanya and Zuopan. Time passed little by little. With the continuous passage of time, the remnant spirit's attacks began to weaken bit by bit. Although the remnant spirit's attacks weakened, Mo Qingyun wasn't in a hurry to kill it. He still consumed it unhurriedly. A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. If the remnant spirit counterattacked before it died, it might consign him to eternal damnation. After all, the remnant spirit's origin was too strong. It was hard to guarantee that it didn't have a powerful trump card. Therefore, before he had full confidence, it was best to continue consuming its strength. What a cautious boy! Seeing that Mo Qingyun didn't fall for it deliberately showing weakness, the remnant spirit's face turned a little ugly. It could be seen that this trick was ineffective against Mo Qingyun. Its trick had failed. Seeing that its plan had failed, the remnant spirit became even more anxious and frustrated. The longer it was delayed, the more disadvantageous it was for it. It had to end the battle quickly. Although the remnant spirit was burning with anxiety, it couldn't change the situation. It could only be led by the nose, by Mo Qingyun. After another hour, the remnant spirit's strength fell again. Its cultivation fell to the intermediate stage of the nebula realm. Its cultivation has fallen to the intermediate stage of the nebula realm. Sensing that the remnant spirit's cultivation had fallen, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. The mockery in his eyes became even more intense. However, he still wasn't in a hurry to make a move. He continued to consume the remnant spirit's strength as if he wanted to exhaust it to death. This can't go on. I'll be exhausted to death by that boy sooner or later. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the remnant spirit was finally afraid. It had a strong feeling that something was wrong. Mo Qingyun was too careful and too steady. He didn't show any signs of panic. Facing such a person, it didn't have any chance of survival. It could only walk towards despair bit by bit. Boy, let's discuss anything. What do you want to not kill me? Seeing that the situation was getting worse, the remnant spirit put down its arrogance and started to submit to Mo Qingyun. It was very clear that Mo Qingyun didn't have the confidence to kill it now. It still had some leeway for negotiation. If it continued to drag on and its cultivation fell again, it wouldn't even have the qualifications to negotiate. That would be a real desperate situation. Chapter 2367. This remnant spirit is extremely powerful. It's a pity to kill it. It would be great if I could subdue it. Mo Qingyun thought about it and made a decision. He wondered if he could subdue the remnant spirit. If he could subdue the remnant spirit, he would have more confidence when confronting the celestial dragon Ra clan in the future. Although he wanted to subdue the remnant spirit, Mo Qingyun did not show it. He said with a cold expression, "If you want me to spare you, unless you're willing to submit to me, I can only kill you." You want me to submit to you? Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, the remnant spirit opened his eyes wide and his eyes were filled with anger. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's current request was a humiliation to him. Mo Qingyun had expected the remnant spirit's reaction and did not find it strange at all. With the remnant spirit's powerful background and arrogant attitude, how could he be willing to submit to him? Don't be in a hurry to be angry. I haven't finished speaking. Mo Qingyun did not care about the remnant spirit's angry expression and said leisurely, "If you're willing to submit to me, open your sea of consciousness and let me plant a soul brand in it." You. Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, the remnant spirit was so angry that his eyes were about to burst, and he gritted his teeth. Mo Qingyun was simply too much of a bully. He could not accept such a thing. Without waiting for the remnant spirit to angrily reject, Mo Qingyun looked disinterested and changed the topic. "I think you won't agree. Pretend I didn't say anything just now. I'll just kill you." Poof. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the remnant spirit was immediately dumbfounded. He was stunned by Mo Qingyun's words. Before he could say no, Mo Qingyun had given up. He was deliberately playing with him. It had to be said that Mo Qingyun's behavior had messed up his train of thought. For a moment, it didn't know what to do, and its arrogance weakened. Was it really going to fall under Mo Qingyun's attack and vanish from this world? No, this was not what it wanted to see. It wanted to reconstruct its physical body and roam the universe. As soon as this thought appeared, the remnant spirit could not wait and said with a nervous expression, "A person must be trustworthy. Since you said that you would subdue me, you can't go back on your words." It was very afraid that if it spoke slowly, Mo Qingyun would forcefully behead it. Seeing the remnant spirit's reaction, Mo Qingyun didn't hurry to express his opinion. He pretended to hesitate for a while before saying with a reluctant expression, "Open your sea of consciousness. Let me leave my soul imprint inside." All right. Seeing Mo Qingyun agree, the remnant spirit relaxed and didn't think too much about Mo Qingyun's thoughts. It couldn't be helped. Mo Qingyun suddenly changed his mind, making it lose its mind and reason. It couldn't think too much. Now for it, as long as it could protect its own life, it was willing to pay any price. Of course, even if the remnant spirit thought too much, it was useless. If it dared to bargain, Mo Qingyun wouldn't mind killing it. After a while, in the sea of consciousness of the remnant spirit, a soul imprint was planted. Looking at the body of the remnant spirit in front of him, Emo Qingyun frowned and said, "You were born by relying on the blood crystal. Without the blood crystal, you can't exist in this world for too long, but I want to refine the blood crystal for cultivation. I can't leave it to you to survive. I'll accept you as my star general. After you become my star general, you can henceforth rely on me to live. Unless I die, otherwise you will not dissipate." Star General, hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the remnant spirit's face showed confusion. It didn't understand Mo Qingyun's meaning. Regarding the remnant spirit's confusion, Mo Qingyun didn't explain to it. He quickly formed a hand seal. Once the hand seal was formed, Mo Qingyun pointed between his eyebrows and released 10 dazzling soul stars. An ancient soul imprint flew out from the soul stars and landed in the remnant spirit's sea of consciousness. This is another type of master and servant imprint. Feeling the imprint in the sea of consciousness, the remnant spirit's expression was slightly dazed. It was caught unprepared by this situation. Originally, it thought that it would temporarily submit to Mo Qingyun and find a chance to break free from his control in the future. Now, it was suppressed by 2 types of contracts. It was probably impossible to break free from Mo Qingyun's control. Thinking of such an outcome, the remnant spirit wanted to cry but had no tears. Just how unlucky was it? When the remnant spirit was sullen, Mo Qingyun pointed between his eyebrows and kept it in the soul palace. He said, "You used too much energy before. Stay in the soul palace and cultivate. From now on, the soul palace will be your residence." "Yes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the remnant spirit's tone was a little unwilling as it replied to Mo Qingyun. Although it was a little unwilling, the remnant spirit didn't delay and immediately immersed itself in cultivation. It probably thought that no matter what happened next, the most important thing was to recover its strength. Not long after the remnant spirit immersed itself in cultivation, Mo Qingyun discovered something amiss. A sense of surprise rose in his heart. He said, "This remnant spirit indeed has some means. It can actually isolate its own memory and prevent me from investigating it." Although Mo Qingyun was a little surprised by this discovery, he didn't pay too much attention to it. In his opinion, as long as he controlled the remnant spirit's life and death, these little tricks were useless. Since the remnant spirit's matter is settled, I should also immerse myself in cultivation. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he abandoned the distracting thoughts in his mind and took the blood crystal to his side. A pure creation power was released from Mo Qingyun's body and enveloped the blood crystal. Then, Mo Qingyun refined the blood crystal and extracted its power bit by bit. Red lines of blood were drawn out of the blood crystal and entered Mo Qingyun's body like rivers flowing into the sea. As the bloodline power entered Mo Qingyun's body, a domineering, devouring power was produced. The appearance of this devouring power was a domineering fusion of the heavenly soul demon bloodline and the absolute beginning creation bloodline. What a powerful bloodline power. It's actually devouring and fusing the heavenly soul demon bloodline and the absolute beginning creation bloodline. Sensing the situation of the bloodline in his body, Mo Qingyun was shocked and had a higher opinion of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan. Based on his understanding of bloodlines, only when there was a huge gap between bloodlines would the weaker bloodline be assimilated by the stronger bloodline. This showed, in front of the bloodline of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan, whether it was the Heavenly Soul Demon bloodline or the Absolute Beginning Creation bloodline, they were undoubtedly extremely weak. While he was shocked by the changes in his bloodline, Mo Qingyun also felt some anticipation. He wanted to know what changes would occur after the Heavenly Soul Demon bloodline and the Absolute Beginning Creation bloodline were assimilated. Chapter 2368. As time passed, the speed of bloodline assimilation became faster and faster, and the fusion became more and more perfect. Under the continuous fusion of the three bloodlines, a brand new bloodline was born in Mo Qingyun's body. When a new bloodline appeared, a powerful bloodline power exuded from Mo Qingyun's body. Boom, boom, boom. When the bloodline power erupted, the Fortune mainland shook violently, letting out earth-shaking rumbles. From the current situation, it seemed that the Fortune mainland was evolving because of the changes in Mo Qingyun's bloodline. At this moment, Mo Qingyun was in a mysterious state. Therefore, he was completely unaware of the commotion in the outside world. Time always passed quickly when one was cultivating. In the blink of an eye, several days had passed. After several days of continuous cultivation, Mo Qingyun's bloodline fluctuations finally reached a stable state. As the bloodline fusion stopped and entered a stable state, Mo Qingyun exited from his cultivation. Mid-true saint realm. Mo Qingyun exited from his cultivation and instinctively probed his cultivation. A look of pleasant surprise appeared on his face as he said, "I didn't expect my cultivation to break through during the bloodline fusion process. This is really an unexpected gain." After a brief moment of pleasant surprise, Mo Qingyun sensed the new bloodline he had fused with, wanting to see what was different about it. After sensing the new bloodline, a strong sense of pleasant surprise appeared in Mo Qingyun's heart. He discovered that the new bloodline had completely merged the Heavenly Soul Devil Clan's bloodline and the Absolute Beginning Fortune bloodline. As for the Darkness Heavenly Holy Gates bloodline, Mo Qingyun didn't know much about it, so he couldn't sense its effects. Since the bloodline fusion process was mainly based on the Darkness Heavenly Holy Gates bloodline, it could be assumed that the bloodline's power was also fused. I wonder what kind of innate ability will I obtain from the new bloodline fusion. With a strong sense of anticipation, Mo Qingyun circulated his bloodline power and comprehended the innate ability of the new bloodline. Under Mo Qingyun's probing, the shadow of a dark door of light appeared between his eyebrows. Apart from that, a small black door-shaped imprint appeared under his control. Darkness swallowing heaven gate, door of death. Under Mo Qingyun's probing, the information of the two new innate abilities appeared in his mind. After comprehending the two new innate abilities, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with joy and immediately started practicing them. Darkness swallowing heaven gate. Mo Qingyun began to practice according to the cultivation chant in his mind. He wanted to see the power of the dark swallowing heaven gate. As Mo Qingyun tried, a powerful bloodline power began to gather above his head. Shortly after, a dark door of the heavenly holy gate, it emitted a frightening, devouring power. Under this devouring power, the bloodline power of the bloodline, the grand mist aura of the heavenly swallowing, the heaven swallowing. After absorbing all these energies, the darkness swallowing heaven gate converted them and channeled them into Mo Qingyun's body. Sensing the energy channeled into his body, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. Realization appeared on his face. He said, "It seems that this innate ability, darkness swallowing heaven gate, has a similar effect to the swallowing gate from before, except it's even more domineering." After understanding this, Mo Qingyun stopped practicing the darkness swallowing heaven gate and tried to use the door of death. With a thought, a pure bloodline power erupted from Mo Qingyun's body. Then, a small black door-shaped mark condensed in his hand. It gave off a cold and eerie aura. This innate ability seems to be a soul innate ability. I wonder how powerful it is. After observing the door of death for a while, Mo Qingyun was filled with anticipation. He smiled faintly. When fighting with the Dark Devil tribe, I can use them as an experiment to test the door of death's lethality. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun came up with a plan. He wasn't willing to stay here any longer. This time, I've been cultivating for several days. It's time to leave the purple mist area. It's time to settle the score with the dark demons. Mo Qingyun's figure disappeared from the Fortune mainland in a flicker. Leaving the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun walked out of the insect nest and sent the dark nirvana corroding feet venomous insects into the Fortune mainland. After everything was done, Emo Qingyun set off, rushing out of the dark spirit world abyss. At this time, at the Dark Devil Tribe's headquarters on a grand altar, many Dark Devil Tribe's experts were gathered here, their gazes fixed on the altar. At the center of the altar was a shriveled corpse, resembling a shriveled corpse. Thump! Right at this moment, a heartbeat sounded from the shriveled corpse's chest. Thump! 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 After a heartbeat after heartbeat sounded from the shriveled corpse's chest. Seeing this, everyone tensed up, their gazes fixed on the center of the altar. Before everyone's nervous gazes, the blood from the blood pools around the altar began to converge at the center of the altar. Then, the blood from the blood pools was injected into the shriveled corpse on the altar. As the blood continued to flow into the corpse, the shriveled corpse gradually filled up, and its life force grew stronger. Watching this scene, everyone's face tensed up even more, not daring to breathe too loudly. Time trickled by. Several hours later, the shriveled corpse lying on the altar turned into a red-eyed young man. "Greetings, blood ancestor." Looking at the red-eyed young man on the altar, the surrounding people all bowed respectfully to him. No need to be so polite. Seeing their actions, the red-eyed young man stood up and waved his hand at them. "Since you've awakened me, you're my juniors from now on. I'll lead you to flatten this plane and fulfill your wishes. The blood ancestor is invincible." Hearing the red-eyed young man's words, everyone immediately bowed, their faces filled with surprise. In their opinion, with this person's promise, conquering the wasteland continent would be a piece of cake. Thump, thump, thump. At this moment, while everyone was bowing to the red-eyed young man, several people's bodies suddenly exploded. As the bodies of these people exploded, golden beetles jumped out of their bodies one after another. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were all stunned. They were caught off guard by this scene. This scene was too strange. Dark spirit devouring golden-shelled beetles. Seeing the golden beetles, the red-eyed young man's gaze turned cold, and his expression darkened. Clearly, he already knew the reason for these people's deaths. Chapter 2369. After understanding the cause of these people's deaths, the red-eyed young man's face turned cold. He turned to look at Zi Chungrong. These people had followed him to the dark spirit abyss not long ago. Therefore, he was the only one who knew exactly what had happened. "Zi Chungrong, they followed you to the dark spirit abyss. Tell me what happened." The red-eyed young man glanced at Zi Chungrong and questioned him with a slightly displeased tone. Under the questioning of the red-eyed youth, Zi Chungrong calmly walked out of the crowd and said, "Shui Zhu, when we arrived at the dark spirit abyss, we met Emo Qingyun, the target of our clan. We had a fierce battle with him and forced him into the dark spirit abyss. Then, we chased after him. When we entered the dark spirit realm abyss, we didn't encounter any danger. When we found Emo Qingyun, he actually controlled the heaven nirvana corroding venom swarm, causing us to fall into a passive situation. We had no choice but to retreat. I think that since Emo Qingyun can control the dark erosion feat, it is very likely that he has also obtained the dark spirit devouring golden-shelled beetle egg." Zi Qingrong unhurriedly narrated what happened and some of his guesses. "Your speculation is very likely." After hearing Zi Qingrong's words, the blood ancestor nodded in agreement. His face gradually darkened as he said angrily, "This Emo Qingyun is really bold. He actually dared to scatter the eggs of the dark spirit devouring golden-shelled beetle on our people. It seems like he is seeking death." When the blood ancestor was enraged, he also realized that something wasn't right and immediately felt anxious. Since there are black spirit devouring golden-shelled larvae hidden in the bodies of these people, there must be black spirit devouring golden-shelled larvae in the bodies of others. Thinking of this, the blood ancestor became anxious and immediately ordered Zi Qingrong, "Zi Qingrong, gather the others here immediately. I want to check if there are any dark spirit devouring golden-armored larvae in their bodies. Yes, hearing the blood ancestors' order, Zicheng did not dare to delay and immediately went to gather the others. He was very clear that the current situation was very serious. If he was slightly careless, the dark demon race would suffer heavy casualties. When Zicheng summoned everyone, he also sensed his body to see if there were any larvae in his body. After all, he had also gone to the dark spirit abyss. It was hard to guarantee that he would not be contaminated by the dark spirit devouring golden beetle eggs. There really is one. Realizing that there was a dark spirit devouring golden shell larva hiding under his armpit, Zicheng was shocked. The strength of this larva had already attained the 9th level of the 9 heavens' mysterious immortal realm, and it would probably break out of its body soon. Once the dark spirit devoured golden-armored larvae broke out of his body, even if he didn't die directly, his vitality would be greatly damaged. Thinking of such an ending, Zicheng was frightened, and a lingering fear rose in his heart. Fortunately, he discovered it early. Otherwise, he would have suffered a great loss. Realizing that there were larvae hiding in his body, Zicheng immediately channeled his saint energy and killed the larvae in his body. After killing the larvae, Zicheng was still worried, so he checked his body again. After Zicheng confirmed that there were no more larvae in his body, he took a deep breath. Although he was sure that he was safe, the anger in Zicheng's heart became even more intense. He did not expect that he would end up like Zi Yunxiao and the others, suffering a great loss in the battle with Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun, you're good. You didn't disappoint me. Zicheng's face darkened. He clenched his fists tightly and suppressed the anger in his heart. Then, Zicheng went to summon the others to gather at the altar of the main clan. About an hour later, under Zicheng's urgent summons, Zicheng and the others, who had gone to the dark spirit abyss, all came to the altar. Greetings, blood ancestor. When Zicheng and the others came to the altar, they bowed respectfully to the blood ancestor. In response to Zicheng and the others' bow, the blood ancestor waved his hand indifferently. He lifted his finger and pointed at one of them. All of you enter the blood pool. I want to use the Dark Soul demonic blood secret technique to check the situation in your bodies. Yes. Hearing the blood ancestor's instructions, Zicheng and the others did not dare to delay and immediately entered the blood pool. As Zicheng and the others entered the blood pool shone brightly, and many complicated inscriptions appeared. When these inscriptions appeared, they guided the blood in the blood pool and turned it into small streams that flowed into Zi Pestle and the others' bodies. The moment the blood entered Zi Qi and the others' bodies, the hidden larvae of Zi Qi and the others were revealed. There are so many of them. When he saw the situation of Zicheng and the others, not only was the blood ancestor shocked, but the others were also shocked. Then, the blood ancestor condensed a seal and sent it into Zicheng and the others' bodies. Absorb. After sending the seal into their bodies, the blood ancestor waved his arm and pulled the threads of blood. Under the forceful pull of the threads of blood, the larvae hidden in their bodies were all forcefully pulled out. Squeak, squeak, squeak. When the larvae were forcefully pulled out, they struggled fiercely and looked ferocious. Looking at the larvae on the ground, Zicheng and the others were shocked, and their faces turned pale. They did not expect that there would be larvae near the saint realm hidden in their bodies. Blood ancestor, what are these larvae? After a short moment of shock, Zicheng and the others panicked and looked at the blood ancestor in confusion. When he heard Zicheng and the others' question, the blood ancestor's face darkened. Someone secretly scattered the eggs of the dark spirit, devouring golden-shelled larvae on your bodies when you were fighting with them. After the larvae landed on your bodies, they hatched and grew in your bodies without you noticing. Finally, they broke out of your bodies. Could it be him? After hearing the blood ancestor's explanation, Zicheng and the others were shocked and thought of the same person at the same time. When they guessed who the culprit was, their faces turned ugly and they released waves of murderous intent. They had actually suffered a great loss at the hands of Mo Qingyun. This kind of thing was really too sullen. Mo Qingyun knew nothing about what was happening in the altar of the Dark Demon tribe. After a few days of continuous travel, he finally left the Dark Spirit Abyss. This trip to the Dark Spirit Abyss had been fruitful. Not only had his strength improved greatly, but he had also gained many helpers. After coming out of the Dark Spirit Abyss, Mo Qingyun summoned ZK and asked him to lead the way. In order to prevent Zicheng and the others from awakening the Dark Demon Tribe experts from the Outer Realm, I have to reach the Dark Demon Tribe's headquarters as soon as possible. After summoning ZK, Mo Qingyun thought quickly and came up with a plan. He said, ZK, we'll head straight to the main clan of the Dark Devil race. You continue to lead the way. Mo Qingyun was very clear about the strength of the Outer Realm's Dark Devil race. Chapter 2370. Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, ZK responded respectfully and led the way for Mo Qingyun. Then, with ZK leading the way, Mo Qingyun rushed to the headquarters of the Dark Demon race. If Zicheng and the others knew about Mo Qingyun's arrival, they would be shocked. They were thinking of taking revenge on Mo Qingyun, but they did not expect Mo Qingyun to take the initiative to come to them. Of course, they did not know about this. In the altar of the Dark Demon race's headquarters, seeing that ZK and the others' crisis had been resolved, Zicheng walked to the Blood Ancestor and said in a deep voice, Blood Ancestor, Mo Qingyun is sinister, cunning, and talented. He will be a great danger if we keep him alive. We must get rid of him as soon as possible. This kid is indeed troublesome. Hearing Zicheng's suggestion, the Blood Ancestor nodded. After thinking for a while, he said, I am very interested in the Dark Spirit Abyss. I will go there and get rid of Mo Qingyun. Zichi and the others were overjoyed when they heard the Blood Ancestor's words. They became excited. They felt that if the Blood Ancestor went there personally, it would not be a problem to kill Mo Qingyun. Zicheng, go and make the arrangements. Then we will go to the Dark Spirit Abyss. After the Blood Ancestor made the decision, he told Zicheng to make arrangements for the clan's affairs. Hearing the Blood Ancestor's order, Zicheng responded and left the altar. Not long after Zicheng had arranged everything, everyone set off for the Dark Spirit Abyss. As they were anxious to deal with Mo Qingyun, Zicheng and the others rushed all the way. They were afraid that Mo Qingyun would leave the Dark Spirit Abyss in advance. With Zicheng rushing at full speed, it only took them 2 days to reach the Dark Spirit Abyss. What a powerful bloodline aura! Standing outside the Dark Spirit Abyss, the Blood Ancestor's body trembled. An excited expression appeared on his face as he said, Even the powerful clans of the 4-star realm cannot compare to this. Could it be that the Dark Spirit Abyss is related to the 5-star realm? When the Blood Ancestor thought of this, his expression became even more excited, and his eyes were filled with intense anticipation. If he could plant the bloodline of a powerful clan from a 5-star realm, his strength would reach a whole new level. While the Blood Ancestor was overjoyed, Pestle and the others were also shocked, their eyes widening in shock. They really did not expect that the Dark Spirit Abyss was actually linked to a 5-star plane. This news was too frightening. Compared to Zichi and the others' shock, Zicheng face was calm. He looked at the Blood Ancestor with a complicated gaze. Judging from Zicheng's behavior, he seemed to be thinking of some tricks. As for what it was, no one knew. Let's go in. Thinking of the powerful bloodlines in the Dark Spirit Abyss, the Blood Ancestor rushed in with an impatient expression. Seeing Blood Ancestor enter the Dark Spirit Realm Abyss, Zicheng and the others hurriedly followed him into the Dark Spirit Realm Abyss. Half a day later, as the Blood Ancestor and the others hurried along, they came to a black mountain range and saw many golden-armored demonic insects. Dark Spirit devouring golden-armored insects. Looking at the golden-armored demonic insects on the mountain range, the Blood Ancestor and the others were shocked as they recognized these insects. After discovering the dark spirit devouring golden-armored insects, Zicheng Rong showed a look of understanding and deduced, if I'm not mistaken, Mo Qingyun should have passed by here before. I don't know what method he used, but he collected some dark spirit devouring golden-armored insect eggs. That should be the case. The blood ancestor nodded in agreement. After glancing at the dark spirit devouring golden-armored insects, the blood ancestor flew toward them and said, "Follow me closely. I'll take you and kill our way there." Yes, Z Pestle and the others responded and followed closely behind the blood ancestor. When they arrived at the territory of the dark spirit devouring golden-armored insects, the blood ancestor clasped his palms together, and terrifying blood-colored saint power gathered in his palms. Open! The blood ancestor opened his palms and blasted forward, releasing a shocking aura. After the blood ancestor blasted out his palms, two giant blood-colored palms blasted toward the dark spirit, devouring golden-armored insects in front of them. Bang, bang, bang. Under the bombardment of the giant blood-colored palms, the dark spirit devouring golden-armored insects were all blasted away and landed heavily on the mountain peak. After the dark spirit devouring golden-armored insects landed on the ground, their bodies were slowly eroded by the blood-colored saint power. Seeing this, Z Pestle and the others narrowed their eyes, and their eyes were filled with shock. The blood ancestor was indeed a galaxy-grade elite. A casual palm strike from him was able to corrode the bodies of the dark spirit devouring golden-armored insects. After all, the dark spirit devouring golden-armored insects' bodies were as tough as a galaxy-grade divine weapon. This showed how powerful the blood ancestor's palm strike was and how powerful it was. Let's go. After killing the dark spirit devouring golden-armored insects in their way, the blood ancestor did not stop and continued to lead them forward. Then, under the guidance of the blood ancestor, they easily passed through the territory of the dark spirit devouring golden-armored insects. After passing through the territory of the dark spirit devouring golden-armored insects, Zicheng Rong and the others continued to walk deeper into the dark spirit abyss. A few more days passed. With the blood ancestor leading the way, everyone stopped in front of a patch of purple mist. Blood ancestor, this is where we found Mo Qingyun and had a fierce battle with him. Standing in front of the purple mist, Zicheng Rong briefly recounted the course of the battle and said, "The purple mist in front is where the dark spirit corroding golden-armored insects live. Mo Qingyun must have subdued them here. Mo Qingyun is not here at the moment. He must have passed through the mist in front of us and entered deeper into the dark spirit abyss." Seeing that Mo Qingyun was not around, the blood ancestor immediately thought of a possibility and looked at the purple mist. They had not encountered Mo Qingyun along the way, so Mo Qingyun must have passed through the mist. Looking at the mist in front of him, the blood ancestor frowned and looked troubled. He could sense that the purple mist in front of him was shockingly poisonous. Even though his cultivation had reached the galaxy grade, he would have a headache if he came into contact with this kind of poison. Don't worry, blood ancestor. I have a way to isolate the mist and let everyone pass through. While the blood ancestor looked troubled, Zicheng Rong walked to his side and took out a huge wooden barrel. After taking out the wooden barrels, Zicheng Rong smiled faintly and explained to everyone, this wooden barrel was made from a million-year-old bloodthirsty poisonous willow. The bloodthirsty poisonous willow has a strong devouring power. In addition, it contains a strong poison that can absorb the toxicity of the mist and counteract the toxicity of the mist. Zicheng Rong, you did a good job. After hearing Zicheng Rong's explanation, the blood ancestor nodded in satisfaction and praised Zicheng Rong. Then, Zicheng Rong and the others entered the wooden barrel and flew into the purple mist. Chapter 2371. Dark Demon Race's Main Clan. When the Blood Ancestor and the others arrived at the Dark Spirit Abyss, Mo Qingyun was led by ZK to the Dark Demon Race's main clan. Master, it's up ahead. ZK stood beside Mo Qingyun at the entrance of the Dark Demon race's main clan and pointed forward. After hearing ZK's words, Mo Qingyun looked into the distance and immediately came up with a plan. He said, "Let's capture a Saint Realm Elder and ask about the situation in the main clan. Then, we'll proceed with the next step of the plan." "Yes," ZK replied and continued to lead the way. He pointed to the east side of the main clan and said, "Master, the Saint Realm Elders live in the east side. I'll take you there now." Mo Qingyun nodded and followed ZK to the east side of the main clan. After a while, Mo Qingyun and ZK easily entered the main clan without attracting anyone's attention. With their strength, as long as they were careful, even ZK wouldn't be able to discover them. After entering the main clan's territory, Mo Qingyun and ZK didn't walk for long before they saw a majestic mansion. This was the place where the elders lived. After arriving at the place where the elders lived, Mo Qingyun randomly chose a mansion and entered it. After entering the mansion, Mo Qingyun released his soul power and searched the mansion. Under the search of Mo Qingyun's soul power, the mansion's master's hiding place was quickly found. "Over there. Let's go." After discovering the mansion's master's location, Mo Qingyun hinted at ZK and went to find the mansion's master. After a while, Mo Qingyun easily found the mansion's master's room with his soul power. Divine Ancestor ZK. When Mo Qingyun and ZK entered the room, the mansion's master was shocked as he recognized Quebec. While he was shocked, he was more afraid. He had already known about ZK's betrayal. ZK had suddenly come to find him. He probably didn't come with good intentions and wanted to harm him. "Elder Z Tao, it's you." When a man recognized ZK, ZK also recognized him. He smiled faintly and said, "Elder Z Tao, I don't want to fight you. I hope you can cooperate." "Divine Ancestor ZK, I'll do my best to carry out your orders." Z Tao quickly nodded in response to ZK's warning, not daring to be disrespectful. He could sense that ZK's cultivation had already broken through to the nebulous stage. With his initial stage, Saint Realm cultivation, it was absolutely impossible for him to contend against Quebec. If he wanted to live, he could only listen to ZK's arrangements. At least for now, he had to confuse ZK before he could have a chance to save himself. Very good. Seeing Z Tao's performance, ZK nodded in satisfaction and turned to look at Mo Qingyun. Seeing ZK's action, Z Tao couldn't help but be shocked, and he couldn't help but take a few more glances at Mo Qingyun. Based on ZK's actions, he seemed to be unusually respectful to the young man beside him. Noticing this, Z Tao thought for a moment and guessed Mo Qingyun's identity. He exclaimed, You are Mo Qingyun?" "That's right." Seeing that Z Tao had guessed his identity, Mo Qingyun didn't deny it. He calmly nodded and admitted it. He said, "Since you know my identity, you must also know why I'm here. I hope you can cooperate with me." In the face of Mo Qingyun's warning, Z Tao's expression flickered as he remained silent. After warning Z Tao, Mo Qingyun didn't care what Z Tao thought. He asked calmly, "Did something big happen in the Dark Demon race's main clan recently? For example, did the Blood Ancestor awaken?" You know that the Blood Ancestor has awakened?" Z Tao's eyes widened in shock when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. It had only been a few days since the Blood Ancestor had awakened. He hadn't expected Mo Qingyun to know. Upon seeing Z Tao's reaction, Mo Qingyun nodded. He knew that the Blood Ancestor had awakened. Mo Qingyun didn't care much about the Blood Ancestor's awakening. He was just a little surprised. The Blood Ancestor has awakened. ZK was startled when he heard that the Blood Ancestor had awakened. Worry appeared on his face. He knew very well how strong the Blood Ancestor was. He was a galaxy-grade entity. Given his and Mo Qingyun's strength, they definitely wouldn't be able to contend against him. ZK had a worried look on his face when he thought of this. Then, he tried to persuade Mo Qingyun. "Master, since the Blood Ancestor has awakened, the situation isn't good for us. Let's leave as soon as possible." "No, I want to meet him." Mo Qingyun directly rejected ZK's suggestion. His attitude was very firm. Mo Qingyun's thinking was very simple. Given the enmity between him and the Dark Demon race, the Blood Ancestor wouldn't let him off. Even if he left temporarily, the Blood Ancestor would chase him to the Creation Immortal Palace, and a battle would be unavoidable. However, the time of this battle would be delayed, so it wouldn't be very significant. In that case, he might as well stay behind and fight the Blood Ancestor directly. Most importantly, he might have been a little afraid of the Blood Ancestor before entering the Dark Spirit Realm Abyss. However, things were different now. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's decision, the worry on ZK's face intensified. Master, the Blood Ancestor is a galaxy-grade powerhouse. Given our current strength, I'm afraid we won't be able to contend against him. You don't have to worry about the Blood Ancestor. I have my own ways to deal with him. Mo Qingyun replied simply when he saw ZK trying to persuade him again. He told ZK not to worry. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, ZK stopped persuading him. He believed that Mo Qingyun would have a way. After comforting ZK, Mo Qingyun glanced at Zitao again and said, "Continue." What else has happened in the Dark Demon race's main clan recently? Yes. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Zitao had no choice but to report everything that had happened at the altar to Mo Qingyun. It seems like they have already received the gift I gave Zi Qingrong. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly when he heard that the dark spirit devouring golden-shelled larvae had broken out. He could imagine that the situation back then must have been very exciting. While Mo Qingyun was chuckling to himself, Zitao also told Mo Qingyun about the Blood Ancestor and the others heading to the Dark Spirit Realm Abyss. The Blood Ancestor went to the Dark Spirit Realm Abyss? Mo Qingyun was stunned when he heard this news. He was very surprised. He hadn't expected that he and the Blood Ancestor would have missed each other. This is good too. I can take control of the main clan while the Blood Ancestor and the others aren't around. After Mo Qingyun was a little surprised, the corners of his mouth curled up into a faint smile. Chapter 2372. ZK, since the Blood Ancestor and the others aren't around, you will be in charge of the main clan. Mo Qingyun had already thought of what to do. Thus, he instructed ZK to help him control the Dark Demon clan. The moment he heard Mo Qingyun's words, ZK understood his meaning, and his expression became agitated. Under ZK's excited gaze, Mo Qingyun's expression became more serious. You should understand that I will eliminate anyone who refuses to submit. How many of your clansmen you can save will depend on your own ability. Thank you, Master. I understand. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, ZK immediately understood and bowed to thank Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was telling him that as long as he could make the sage clansmen submit, he would spare their lives. Compared to Mo Qingyun's previous promise, Mo Qingyun's current actions were undoubtedly a step back. After exchanging a few words with Mo Qingyun, ZK glanced at Zitao and said coldly, "Elder Zitao, you heard what Master said. I hope you won't force me to make a move. I am willing to follow Sacred Ancestor ZK." Towards ZK's warning, Zitao immediately understood tacitly and expressed his loyalty to Z Quebec. He knew that ZK was actually saving his life by giving him the chance to submit. Upon seeing Zitao's reaction, ZK nodded in satisfaction and said, "Elder Zitao, open up your spiritual sea. I want to brand it with a soul mark." Brand it with a soul mark. Zitao's expression froze when he heard ZK's request. A trace of reluctance appeared on his face. He hadn't expected that ZK would have such a request for him to submit. Oomph. ZK snorted unhappily when he saw Zitao's hesitation. "Elder Zitao, do you think I will believe you just because you say that? Please calm down, Sacred Ancestor Z Quebec. I will open up my spiritual sea right away." Zitao panicked when he heard ZK's displeased words. He tried to appease ZK's anger. He knew that ZK would believe him if he didn't pay a price. Subsequently, ZK planted a soul brand in Z-Tao's sea of consciousness. After subduing Z-Tao, ZK did not want to waste any more time. He immediately asked Z-Tao, Elder Z-Tao, apart from sacred ancestor ZK, how many other people in the clan have broken through to the nebula realm? Z-Tao didn't dare hide anything from Z-Quebec. He immediately reporting to sacred ancestor Z-Quebec currently. Sacred ancestor Z-Yang and sacred ancestor Z-Luo have broken through to the nebula realm. These two fellows have indeed broken through. Hearing Z-Tao's reply, ZK nodded in understanding, as if he was not surprised at all. He was very familiar with Z-Yang and Z-Luo. He knew how talented they were. Although ZK knew that Z-Yang and Z-Yin had broken through, he didn't care. He wasn't afraid of them now. Elder Z-Tao, bring us to Z-Yang and Z-Yin. After asking about the clan situation, ZK ordered Z-Tao to lead the way for the two of them. Yes. Hearing ZK's order, Z-Tao walked out of the room and led the way for Mo Qingyun and Z-Luo. Soon, the three of them arrived in front of a valley under Z-Tao's lead. So the two of them are here. Looking at the valley in front of him, ZK nodded and said, Master, this is the dark sacred Devil Valley. It's a cultivation paradise of my clan. I once went in to cultivate once. Cultivating there can yield twice the results with half the effort. Oh. Hearing ZK's words, Mo Qingyun immediately became interested in the dark sacred Devil Valley. After looking at the valley briefly, Mo Qingyun took the lead and walked into the dark sacred Devil Valley. After entering the dark sacred Devil Valley, Mo Qingyun could clearly feel a wave of pure dark energy surrounding him. What a pure dark energy! It seems to be of the same origin as the dark sacred clan's energy. Standing in the dark sacred Devil Valley, Mo Qingyun could clearly feel that the bloodline power in his body was transforming. Such a discovery truly shocked Mo Qingyun greatly, and he secretly rejoiced. If I cultivate here, perhaps it will allow the bloodline in my body to undergo a transformation and sublimation. When this thought appeared in his mind, Mo Qingyun decided to give it a try after dealing with Z-Yang and Z-Yin. Let's go and find Z-Yang and Z-Yin. Discarding the distracting thoughts in his mind, Mo Qingyun walked forward and wanted to deal with Z-Yang and Z-Yin as soon as possible. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, ZK immediately led the way and brought Mo Qingyun to find Z-Yang and Z-Yin. With his understanding of the dark sacred Devil Valley, he didn't need Z-Tao to lead the way. After a short while, under ZK's guidance, Mo Qingyun came to a secret room and saw two middle-aged men sitting there. Without a doubt, the two middle-aged men in front of him should be Z-Yang and Z-Luo. The arrival of Mo Qingyun and the other two immediately attracted Z-Luo and Z-Yan's attention, and they stopped cultivating. When Z-Luo and Z-Yin saw ZK, they were shocked just like Z-Tao. ZK, you really have the guts to return to the clan. You even brought outsiders into the forbidden area. You've really fallen. After scolding ZK, Z-Luo and Z-Yan's gaze fell on Mo Qingyun. After looking at Mo Qingyun, Z-Luo guessed Mo Qingyun's identity and sneered. If I'm not wrong, you should be Mo Qingyun, the one who made ZK submit to you. So you're Mo Qingyun. After learning about Mo Qingyun's identity from Z-Luo, Z-Yang sneered and said, the clan members who have fought with you have always said that you're a monstrous talent. However, in my eyes, you're just a junior. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Z-Yang and Z-Yan's attitude. He nodded indifferently at ZK and said, it seems like they won't submit with just words. Let's cripple them first. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Z-Tao's body trembled and his gaze towards Mo Qingyun changed. It had to be said that Mo Qingyun's words were too domineering. He actually said that he would cripple a Nebula Realm expert. It was a little too pretentious. Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, ZK immediately nodded and rushed towards Z-Luo. Seeing that ZK was going to deal with Z-Luo, Z-Yang sneered and walked towards Mo Qingyun. He said, Kid, since Z Luo is going to deal with ZK, I'll deal with you. Do you have the ability? Mo Qingyun had a calm expression on his face as he responded to Zi Yang's words with a provocative question. When he heard Mo Qingyun's disdainful words, the sneer on Zi Yang's face immediately deepened. He said, "You will soon know whether or not I can kill you." Chapter 2373. The moment Ziyang attacked, waves of terrifying bloodline power erupted from his body. After activating the bloodline in his body, Ziyang revealed an arrogant expression and said in a condescending manner, "Kid, not long ago, I planted 10,000 types of bloodlines. Now, I'll let you experience the power of 10,000 types of bloodlines fused together." As Ziyang spoke, he controlled his bloodline power and pressed it against Mo Qingyun. Under the pressure of Zi Yang's bloodline, Mo Qingyun's expression was indifferent. He curled his lips in disdain and said, "You're still far from being able to compete with me in terms of bloodline power." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he also activated his own bloodline, and a terrifying aura erupted from him. Bloodline suppression. After activating his bloodline, Mo Qingyun activated his bloodline power and pressed it against Ziyang. In the face of Mo Qingyun's bloodline suppression, Ziyang's bloodline power was immediately crushed into nothingness. Although the density of Mo Qingyun's new bloodline wasn't particularly high, the grade of his bloodline was too high. Therefore, it was not strange that he could forcefully crush Ziyang's bloodline. How? How can this be? What bloodline is this? How can it be so powerful? Under Mo Qingyun's bloodline suppression, Ziyang was shocked to discover that his blood flow had stopped. This discovery gave him quite a fright. This situation was too frightening. After fusing 10,000 types of powerful bloodlines, the strength of his bloodline had already surpassed the absolute beginning creation bloodline. But even so, in front of Mo Qingyun's bloodline power, there was no resistance at all. From this, it could be seen how powerful Mo Qingyun's bloodline power was. You're relying on your bloodline power to fight with Z Quebec. Isn't this too unfair? Seeing the battle between ZK and Ziyang, Mo Qingyun's face turned cold, and he used his bloodline suppression on Zi Luo. Under the pressure of Mo Qingyun's bloodline, Zi Luo's bloodline power also collapsed instantly. Even her blood flow stopped. Because the power of the bloodline in her body had dissipated, the flow of her blood had suddenly stagnated. Thus, Zi Luo's divine ability had been interrupted. In a battle between experts, a small mistake could affect the outcome. Zi Luo's sacred art was forcefully interrupted, which immediately gave ZK an opportunity. Good chance. ZK's face lit up, and he took the opportunity to strike out with his palm, which landed on Zi Luo's body. Zi Luo was immediately sent flying by ZK's overbearing palm strike. She was severely injured and lost the ability to continue fighting. After crippling Zi Luo, ZK's figure flashed and returned to Mo Qingyun. "I'll leave him to you." Seeing ZK come to his side, Mo Qingyun said something to him before turning around and walking to the side. Looking at Mo Qingyun's attitude, he seemed to think that Ziyang was not qualified for him to make a move. Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, ZK immediately nodded and charged towards Ziyang. Facing ZK's powerful attack, Ziyang's face immediately trembled, and his expression became tense. ZK's cultivation was the same as his at the Nebula Realm. Moreover, ZK's aura was more vigorous. It could be seen that ZK had broken through earlier than him, and his cultivation was more stable than his. Although ZK also did not have bloodline power, ZK's situation was different from his. Without bloodline power, his strength would be greatly reduced. Ziyang, I advise you to obediently submit, lest you suffer physical pain later. While fighting with Ziyang, ZK's expression was solemn as he tried to persuade Ziyang. Ziyang's face instantly darkened when faced with ZK's persuasion, and he said coldly, "A traitor dares to act shamelessly before me? Even if I, Ziyang, die, I'll absolutely not submit to him. Then I won't be polite. Seeing Ziyang's attitude, ZK's face darkened, and his attacks became fiercer. He gave Ziyang a chance to live because they were from the same clan, so there was nothing he could do if Ziyang did not cherish it. As ZK's attacks intensified, Ziyang's situation became more passive, and he fell into a perilous situation. Yin-Yang dual pupils. Seeing Ziyang in imminent danger, Mo Qingyun's gaze turned cold, and a ray of light shot out from his eyes. The speed of the light was extremely fast, and it caught Ziyang off guard, so it immediately hit him. Puchi! Ziyang's right shoulder was immediately pierced through by the eye power, and his body was sent flying. When Ziyang's right shoulder was injured, ZK did not show mercy, and he followed up with a palm strike on his chest. Facing Mo Qingyun and ZK's continuous attacks, Ziyang lost his ability to fight. He looked at Mo Qingyun unwillingly and said angrily, "Despicable scoundrel, you actually launched a sneak attack from behind. You have an unfair advantage. A life-and-death battle is not an ordinary spar. What's so honorable about it?" Mo Qingyun did not care about Ziyang's sarcasm, and he replied calmly. Mo Qingyun paid no further attention to the two of them when he saw them crippled. He turned to look at ZK and said, "Take the two of them away. I'm going to cultivate here for a while. I think that you should be able to deal with the rest on your own." "Don't worry, master. I will handle it perfectly." Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, ZK promised and left with Ziyang, and Z Quebec, seeing that ZK and the rest had left, Mo Qingyun abandoned all distracting thoughts and immediately immersed himself in cultivation. While Mo Qingyun was immersed in his cultivation, Qingyun took out the blood crystal. He refined the blood crystal while refining the power of darkness. Dark devouring heaven gate. As Mo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivation, he used his natal superpower to increase the efficiency of his cultivation. A shocking bloodline power erupted from Mo Qingyun's body and merged with saint power to condense above his head. Not long after, a black door of light condensed above Mo Qingyun and emitted a terrifying devouring power. Under this devouring power, blood-red threads floated out of the blood crystal and were sucked into the black door of light. As the blood-red threads were sucked into the door of light, the surrounding dark energy was also sucked in. After absorbing the two types of energy, the dark devouring heaven gate transformed them and channeled them into Mo Qingyun's body. Sensing the transformed energy entering his body, Mo Qingyun began to refine it to improve his cultivation and bloodline power. Under the nourishment of the two types of energy, Mo Qingyun could clearly feel that the newly merged bloodline was undergoing a transformation. My guess was right. Cultivating here is indeed beneficial to the improvement of my bloodline. Sensing the changes in his bloodline, Mo Qingyun was secretly delighted, and a sense of anticipation rose in his heart. He said, "With the current concentration of my bloodline, it can only be considered a 3-star standard. I wonder what level I will reach after cultivating here for a while." With a strong sense of anticipation, Mo Qingyun once again immersed himself in cultivation and worked even harder than before. Chapter 2374. With Mo Qingyun's crazy absorption, the dark energy in the dark sacred Devil Valley was rapidly depleted. In just 3 days, Mo Qingyun had refined 70% of the dark energy in the dark sacred Devil Valley. As the dark energy decreased, the effect of Mo Qingyun's cultivation became weaker and weaker. In addition, the higher the bloodline density was, the more difficult it was to increase it. Therefore, the effect of cultivation became weaker and weaker. It seems that it's impossible to increase the bloodline density if I continue to cultivate. Noticing that the effects of his cultivation were weakening, Mo Qingyun withdrew from his cultivation. A regretful expression appeared on his face as he said, "If I were to cultivate continuously for a few days, I should be able to raise the density of my bloodline to 6 stars. Mo Qingyun sighed and felt relieved. In just 3 days, the bloodline density had increased from 3 stars to 5 stars. This kind of huge improvement was also very frightening. After sensing the increase in the bloodline density, Mo Qingyun also sensed the changes in his cultivation. He found that his cultivation had also improved greatly. Although there was still a long way to go to the later stage of the Sage Realm, it was still a big step. With the current cultivation speed, I will be able to enter the later stage of the Sage Realm in half a month. Mo Qingyun calculated in his heart and picked up the blood crystal. When he saw the size of the blood crystal, he said, "The remaining part of the blood crystal can support me for 5 days at most. It seems that it won't be able to support me until I reach the later stage of the Sage Realm." After keeping the blood crystal, Mo Qingyun stood up and walked out of the dark sacred Devil Valley. When Mo Qingyun left the dark sacred Devil Valley, he sent a soul message to ZK and asked him to wait for him outside the valley. "Greetings, Master. Greetings, Mr. Mo." When they saw Mo Qingyun walking out of the dark sacred Devil Valley, ZK and the others who were standing outside the valley immediately bowed respectfully. In response to their actions, Mo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently and revealed a satisfied expression. Judging from this scene, ZK's subduing of his clansmen should be proceeding smoothly. You've submitted as well." Seeing Ziyang in the crowd, Mo Qingyun's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. He was somewhat surprised by this discovery. He remembered that when Ziyang was in the Dark Spirit Saint Devil Valley, he swore that he wouldn't obey even if he died. Who would have thought that ZK would actually make him submit? ZK really did have some ability. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Ziyang immediately laughed awkwardly and explained with an awkward expression, "Mr. Mo, I was just showing off before. Please don't take it seriously." Hearing Ziyang's explanation, Mo Qingyun was speechless. He was defeated by Ziyang's thick skin. No matter what, Ziyang being willing to submit was also a good thing. The help of a Nebula Realm powerhouse was huge and would be of great use in the future. "ZK, tell me about the clan's current situation in detail." After exchanging pleasantries with ZK and the others, Mo Qingyun walked forward and asked ZK while he was at it. After hearing Mo Qingyun's question, ZK didn't dare hide anything and immediately reported in detail. After listening to ZK's narration, Mo Qingyun nodded and said, "Is there any news of the Blood Ancestor and the others recently? Is there any movement in the Dark Spirit Abyss?" "There's no news of them yet." ZK immediately shook his head in response to Mo Qingyun's inquiry and said, "In addition, when I sent people to the Dark Spirit Abyss to rescue my clansmen, there was no movement in the Dark Spirit Abyss." "I see." After listening to ZK's reply, Mo Qingyun immediately frowned, and some worry rose in his heart. There's no news of the Blood Ancestor and the others. Could they have gone to the immortal palace of creation? If that's the case, it'll be troublesome. When this thought appeared in his mind, Mo Qingyun's worry grew even stronger, and he decided to rush back to take a look. With the Blood Ancestor's galaxy-grade strength, if he went to deal with the immortal palace of creation, the people of the immortal palace of creation would undoubtedly die. No, I have to rush back to the immortal palace of creation immediately. The more Mo Qingyun thought about it, the more worried he became. The uneasiness in his heart grew stronger as well. He said, "ZK, tell everyone to act as usual. After that, follow me back to the celestial palace of creation. I'm a little worried about it." "Yes." After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, ZK told Ziyang and the others to act as usual. At the same time, he also told them to keep it a secret and not reveal that they had submitted to Mo Qingyun. After everything was done, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any time and controlled the flying ship to leave the Dark Mainland. On the way out of the Dark Mainland, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and arrived at the Fortune Mainland. Because he had been cultivating recently, he hadn't had time to deal with Gong Pingyang's foot poison. Let go of me, my foot." When he arrived at Gong Pingyang's residence, Mo Qingyun heard a series of miserable screams. It seemed like Gong Pingyang, who had fainted earlier, had woken up. "Master, you're here." Seeing Mo Qingyun's arrival, Han Liu and the others saluted with a tense expression. Obviously, the poison in Gong Pingyang's foot made their hearts heavy. Don't worry, Gong Pingyang's poison will be fine. Seeing Han Liu and the others worry, Mo Qingyun comforted them and rushed to Gong Pingyang's residence. When he arrived at Gong Pingyang's residence, Mo Qingyun smelled a foul stench, as if a body was rotting. It seemed like Gong Pingyang's injury had worsened because of the delay. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun immediately summoned Zhuanye and Zhuopan to detoxify Gong Pingyang. Poisonous bug. Seeing Zhuanye and Zhuopan appear, Han Liu and the others were all shocked. Mo Qingyun actually subdued a poisonous bug. This was beyond their expectations. Zhuanye, detoxify Gong Pingyang. Coming to Gong Pingyang's side, Mo Qingyun ordered Zhuanye and Zhuopan to detoxify the poison. Under Mo Qingyun's command, Zhuanye and Zhuopan immediately detoxified Gong Pingyang's foot. In a short while, the poison in Gong Pingyang's foot was detoxified under Zhuanye and Zhuopan's hands. Thank you, Master. With the poison in his foot detoxified, Gong Pingyang showed an excited expression and immediately thanked Mo Qingyun. These past few days, the poisoned foot had tormented him even more than killing him. If it wasn't for Han Liu and the others stopping him, he would have cut off both his legs to relieve his pain. Since the poison is detoxified, you can rest in peace. Seeing that Gong Pingyang's poison was detoxified, Mo Qingyun instructed him and left his residence. After leaving Gong Pingyang and the others' residence, Mo Qingyun found a place and immersed himself in cultivation again. Since he was on the way and had nothing to do, he might as well raise his strength. Chapter 2375. In the dark spirit abyss, in the blackwood forest. Since Mo Qingyun had taken away the blood crystals, the red-armored demonic insects had strengthened their defense. They were constantly on guard against outsiders coming here to steal their treasures again. As a result, not long after the Blood Ancestor and the others arrived, the red-armored demonic insects noticed them. Due to their hatred for Mo Qingyun, the red-armored demonic insects immediately attacked the Blood Ancestor and the others. Presumably, they had transferred their hatred for Mo Qingyun to the Blood Ancestor and the others to vent their anger. In their opinion, the Blood Ancestor and the others were the same as Mo Qingyun. They were all here to steal the blood crystals. Faced with the crazy attack of the red-armored demonic insects, the Blood Ancestor and the others immediately fell into a dangerous situation. What kind of demonic insects are these? They are so powerful. With such terrifying demonic insects, will Mo Qingyun really come here? I don't think so. Maybe before we entered the dark spirit abyss, Mo Qingyun had already left. Not good. A galaxy-stage demonic insect is coming. Run. Faced with the attack of the red-armored demonic insects, everyone looked panicked and had a strong desire to retreat. There was no other way. The red-armored demonic insects were too powerful. They were not something they could fight against. Seeing the current situation, Zi Chungrong frowned and muttered to himself with a thoughtful expression. Judging from the behavior of these demonic insects, they must have been angered by someone. Could it be that Mo Qingyun angered them? When Zi Chungrong thought of this, he looked at the red-armored demonic insect leader and said, "Your Excellency, we didn't mean to offend you. We just came here to hunt down a fugitive. If you have seen him, please tell us where he escaped to." Really? Hearing Zi Chungrong's explanation, the red-armored demonic insect leader's tone changed and it hesitated. After a short moment of hesitation, the red-shelled demonic insect leader became irritable again. It angrily said, "Humans are not good things. Don't try to use this kind of lie to deceive me. No matter what reason you have for coming here, you must die here today." As soon as the leader of the red-shelled demonic insects finished speaking, he ordered the red-shelled demonic insects to attack Zi Chungrong and the others even more ferociously. As expected, seeing the red-shelled demonic insect leader's attack, Zi Chungrong nodded in understanding. His guess was confirmed. Just as he had guessed, the red-shelled demonic insect was so agitated because it was angered by Mo Qingyun. From the looks of it, Mo Qingyun might have already escaped. Our trip this time is probably for naught. Thinking that Mo Qingyun might have already left and seeing Zi Qi and the others struggling, Zi Qingrong went to the Blood Ancestor and said, "Blood Ancestor, if I'm not mistaken, Mo Qingyun should have already left. Zi Qi and the others can't hold on much longer. We should retreat immediately." Retreat? Hearing Zi Qingrong's suggestion, the Blood Ancestor frowned and showed some displeasure. He was now certain that there was a powerful bloodline in the Blackwood Forest. If he could obtain this blood and plant it in his body, his strength would definitely soar. How could he give up so easily when such a treasure was right in front of him? Furthermore, with his galaxy-grade strength, the red-shelled demonic insects could not hurt him. As for Zi Qingrong and the others, they were just some people from the branch family. Their lives did not matter. No, don't retreat for now. Hearing Zi Qingrong's suggestion, the Blood Ancestor said sternly, "Judging from the behavior of these demonic insects, there must be a precious treasure here. Let's search around." As soon as the Blood Ancestor finished speaking, he started to fight the red-shelled demonic insects while searching for the powerful blood. Seeing the Blood Ancestor's behavior, Zi Qingrong's face turned cold and showed some dissatisfaction. At the same time, he looked at the Blood Ancestor with a sharp glint in his eyes. However, due to the Blood Ancestor's status, he did not show it immediately. Instead, he listened to the Blood Ancestor's suggestion. Then, Zi Qingrong and the others followed the Blood Ancestor and continued to search the Black Forest. As time passed, more and more red-shelled demonic insects gathered. Under the increasing attacks of the insects, the casualties of Zi Qingrong and the others became more and more serious. With this happening, the situation of Zi Qingrong and the others became worse. On the Fortune mainland, "Master, my strength has recovered." A respectful voice sounded in Mo Qingyun's mind and interrupted Mo Qingyun's cultivation. This was the remnant spirit calling out to Mo Qingyun. "You recovered so quickly." The recovery ability of a remnant spirit is really strong. Hearing the voice in his mind, Mo Qingyun's expression changed, and he could not help but sigh. Mo Qingyun asked, "Tell me, why are you looking for me?" "Master, I don't have a physical body to support me, so I can't use my full strength. Can you help me find a physical body?" Under Mo Qingyun's inquiry, the remnant spirit spoke out his thoughts and promised Mo Qingyun, "If I have a physical body to support me, my strength will increase by 30%, and I will be of great help to Master." Mo Qingyun frowned and began to consider whether he should agree to the remnant spirit's request or not. Based on the current situation, the Blood Ancestor and the Heavenly Dragon Rock Race are two big hidden dangers. If the remnant spirit's strength increases greatly, it will be of great help to me. Mo Qingyun thought for a while and made a decision. He agreed to help the remnant spirit find a physical body. When Mo Qingyun made the decision in his heart, he already had a plan. He thought to himself, "Previously, I obtained the black tortoise's corpse in the ancestral tomb of the shaman clan. I haven't used it yet. Now, I can let the remnant spirit possess it." Then, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and took out Xuanwu's corpse. As soon as Xuanwu's corpse appeared, it emitted a powerful aura and an astonishing bloodline power. Xuanwu's corpse. Seeing Xuanwu's corpse not far away, the remnant spirit was immediately overjoyed. He asked excitedly, "Master, could it be that this Xuanwu's corpse is for me to possess and be reborn?" Xuanwu was the oldest divine beast. Even in the heaven realm, it was a very rare existence. "That's right." Mo Qingyun nodded and gave an affirmative answer to the remnant spirit's question. Thank you, Master." Hearing Mo Qingyun's answer, the remnant spirit became even more excited. It said with ecstasy, "The purity of this black tortoise's bloodline is astonishing. When it was alive, it should have been a member of the Black Tortoise clan within 100 generations. If I can possess its body and be reborn, my strength will increase by at least 50%. If the remnant spirit's strength increases by 50%, it should be able to deal with a late-stage galaxy-grade powerhouse. After hearing the remnant spirit's words, Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and smiled in satisfaction. This way, the hidden dangers of the heavenly dragon rock race and the blood ancestor would become irrelevant. Chapter 2376. Dark Spirit Abyss, Blackwood Forest. Zi Qingrong and the others were worried when they saw that the casualties were getting worse. Zi Qingrong came to the Blood Ancestor's side and suggested, "Blood Ancestor, we can't hold on any longer. If we continue to fight with the red shell demonic insects, we might be annihilated. Let's evacuate." "Zi Qingrong, are you telling me what to do?" The Blood Ancestor's face turned cold when he saw Zi Qingrong trying to persuade him again. He sounded displeased. In his opinion, Zi Qingrong was just a junior and had no right to tell him what to do. "I wouldn't dare." Zi Qingrong bowed to the Blood Ancestor's displeasure and said, "Blood Ancestor, we can't rush to find the treasure. It won't be too late to think about it later. However, we can't be careless about the lives of our people. Please think about it for us." "How dare you?" Hearing Zi Qingrong's accusation, the Blood Ancestor was furious. He released his aura towards Zi Qingrong and shouted, "Zi Qingrong, who do you think you are? How dare you point fingers at me? Let me tell you clearly, in my eyes, you are just an errand dog. I hope you know your place." Zi Qingrong was immediately pushed back by the Blood Ancestor's aura. His blood was in turmoil. Zi Qing and the others were shocked when they saw Zi Qingrong being pushed back. They surrounded the Blood Ancestor anxiously. "Sacred Prince, are you okay? He's gone too far. We spent a lot of effort to help him wake up, and he treats us like this. The Blood Ancestor doesn't want to retreat. What should we do now? Are we going to stay here and wait for death?" "Sacred Prince, the Blood Ancestor has humiliated you. Why don't we fight him?" Zi Qing and the others were all talking at once. They looked at the Blood Ancestor angrily. Zi Qingrong was shocked when he saw everyone's reaction. He immediately raised his hand to stop them and said, "Everyone, stay calm. We shouldn't fight with the Blood Ancestor now. I'll swallow my anger first." Zi Qing and the others suppressed their anger and waited for Zi Qingrong's arrangement. In their hearts, Zi Qingrong's status and trust were much higher than the Blood Ancestors. After stopping everyone, Zi Qingrong began to consider what to do next. Soon, after Zi Qingrong pondered for a while, he made a decision and said, "We will leave the Dark Spirit Abyss immediately. As for the Blood Ancestor, let him go." "Yes." Zi Qi and the others immediately obeyed Zi Qingrong's orders. Although they had the Blood Ancestor's protection, their safety was guaranteed, but this was not a long-term solution, because as time passed, their injuries would become more and more serious, and in the end, all of them would die here. With that being the case, it would be better for them to risk it all. Perhaps they might be able to escape from the Blackwood Forest. "Oof, a bunch of ants. Since you want to die, then don't blame me." Seeing Zi Qingrong leave alone, the Blood Ancestor smiled disdainfully and no longer cared about their lives. Without the Blood Ancestor to share the pressure, the attacks on Zi Qingrong and the others immediately became several times stronger. Then, the situation of Zi Qingrong and the others became even more dangerous. "We can only take a gamble." Seeing the situation they were in, Zi Qingrong immediately clenched his teeth and made a difficult decision. He said, "I have a secret technique here. After using it for 2 hours, one's strength will directly double. However, after 2 hours, one's strength will directly drop by 90%. It will take 3 days to recover." In other words, once we use this secret technique, we only have 2 hours to escape. If we can't escape, we can only wait for death. Are you willing to take a gamble? "Sacred Prince, we will listen to you. Just tell us what to do." "That's right. We are willing to take the gamble. We have no other choice. This place is not far from the Purple Mist. 2 hours is enough for us to get there." As long as we enter the purple mist, we will be safe. Hearing Zi Qingrong's question, Zi Qi and the others immediately expressed their willingness to take the gamble. Good. Seeing Zi Qi and the others' reaction, Zi Qingrong nodded in satisfaction and began to teach them the secret technique. Not long after, under Zi Qingrong's guidance, Zi Qi and the others mastered the secret technique. Let's go. Seeing that everyone had grasped the secret technique, Zi Qingrong ordered them to perform the secret technique together. As Zi Qingrong and the others performed the secret technique, their auras began to increase. It didn't take long for everyone's strength to reach the nebula grade. Zi Qi, who had the highest cultivation level, had reached the later nebula realm after performing the secret technique. Retreat. After performing the secret technique to increase their strength, Zi Qingrong did not dare to waste any time and immediately led everyone to retreat. As Zi Qingrong and the others' strength had increased, the red demonic insects' attacks on them had weakened. Zi Qingrong and the others broke through the encirclement of the red demonic insects. That lad has mastered such a secret technique. He is quite capable. The blood ancestor was surprised to see the reaction of Zi Qingrong and the others. He was surprised by this scene. After a short moment of surprise, the blood ancestor looked away and ignored Zi Qingrong and the others. What he wanted now was to find a powerful blood so that he could obtain a powerful bloodline. Retreat. After breaking through the encirclement of the red demonic insects, Zi Qingrong and the others ran toward the purple fog. The purple fog was extremely poisonous, and the red demonic insects would not dare to enter it. They would not be able to chase after them. About 2 hours later, Zi Qingrong and the others rushed to the front of the purple fog, and they immediately took out the huge buckets. Zi Qingrong and the others took out the barrels and went into them. They entered the purple mist. Phew! After entering the greenish-purple mist, Zi Qingrong and the others were relieved. They let out a deep breath. Based on the current situation, they were out of danger. Speaking of which, we have to thank Mo Qinyan. If he did not take away the dark sky, corroding venomous insects, we would be in a lot more danger. Squatting in the barrel, Zi Qi's face was filled with fear as he lamented. Hearing Zi Qi's words, the others laughed at themselves. They could not refute Zi Qi's words. Mo Qinyan, who was in the Fortune mainland, had no idea what had happened to Zi Qingrong and the others. Time passed quickly while he was cultivating. Before he knew it, 5 days had passed. After 5 days of cultivation, he had completely refined the blood crystal. Peak of the mid-stage, true saint realm. Mo Qinyan stopped his practice after he had finished refining the blood crystal. He sensed his cultivation and said, I didn't directly break through to the late stage of the sage realm. However, my harvest is more than I had expected. Chapter 2377. Under Mo Qingyun's observation, he realized that the remnant spirit had already merged with Xuanwu's body. The originally lifeless body of Xuanwu had obvious signs of life, and the dull skin also had a luster. Based on the current situation, it will take at most a few days for the remnant spirit to be born in another body. After observing the situation of the remnant spirit for a while, Mo Qingyun's face lit up. He was very satisfied with the progress. Based on the current progress, the remnant spirit would be able to be born in another body before reaching the palace of creation. At that time, if there's a large-scale battle, the remnant spirit would play a huge role. After understanding the situation of the remnant spirit, Mo Qingyun retracted his gaze and sat down. He said, It will take some time to reach the palace of creation. I can't waste this time. I can use it to condense the Saint Power Star cluster. When his cultivation broke through to the middle stage of the Saint realm, he could condense more Saint Power Star clusters. Mo Qingyun did not have the time to condense them. If he condensed the Saint Power Star cluster, his strength would definitely skyrocket, and he would have more confidence. With the desire for strength, Mo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivation again and began to condense the Saint Power Star cluster. Under Mo Qingyun's condensing, waves of imposing flame saint power gathered rapidly outside his body. The flame saint power gathered and was skillfully condensed by Mo Qingyun into balls of flame. As time passed, the number of balls of flame around Mo Qingyun increased rapidly. 201, 202, 1,891, 1,892, 2,000. After an unknown period of time, the number of Saint Power Star clusters condensed reached a limit. Seeing that he could no longer condense Saint Power Star clusters, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating and slowly opened his eyes. 2,000 Saint Power Star clusters. Mo Qingyun had a clear idea of the number of Saint Power Star clusters that he had condensed. Under normal circumstances, the middle stage of the Saint realm could condense a maximum of 1,000 Saint Power Star clusters. However, Mo Qingyun was different from ordinary people. There was a power of creation in his body, so he had twice as many Saint Power Star clusters as compared to normal. Even some Nebula Realm powerhouses didn't condense 2,000 Saint Power Star clusters. In Mo Qingyun's memory, whether it was Shi Qiu, Z, or the rest, they had condensed less than 2,000 Saint Power Star clusters. His cultivation was only at the middle stage of the Saint realm, but he had already reached such a level was terrifying. In comparison, in the same cultivation realm, he was far more powerful than others. They were not on the same level at all. At this rate, when Mo Qingyun broke through to the Nebula realm, the number of Saint Energy Star clusters he could condense would be terrifying. Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile as he felt the rich saint power in his body. He said confidently, "Given my current strength, I should have no problem protecting myself as long as I don't encounter a galaxy-grade elite. If I break through to the late stage of the Saint realm, I should be able to take on an initial stage galaxy powerhouse." Mo Qingyun was looking forward to breaking through to the late stage of the Saint realm as soon as possible. In his opinion, once he broke through to the late stage of the Saint realm, he wouldn't be afraid of ordinary galaxy powerhouses. Forget it. It's impossible to break through to the late stage of the Saint realm in a short time. Although Mo Qingyun was only half a step away from the late stage of the Saint realm, he knew that it wouldn't be easy to take this step. If he didn't obtain any spiritual treasures, it would take him at least a year to reach the late stage of the Saint realm. After thinking up to this point, Mo Qingyun cast aside all distracting thoughts and looked at the remnant spirit. After a few days of continuous cultivation, the remnant spirit's aura had become more stable, and its life fluctuations had become more intense. If someone who didn't know what was going on saw the remnant spirit, they would definitely mistake him for the real Xuanwu. It seems like the remnant spirit has succeeded. Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction after understanding the remnant spirit's situation. The remnant spirit's progress was faster than he had expected. When he sensed Mo Qingyun's gaze, the remnant spirit stopped cultivating and stood up excitedly. As the remnant spirit stood up, he transformed into his human form and walked over to Mo Qingyun. He said respectfully, "Thank you, Master, for giving me Xuanwu's corpse so that I could be reborn in his body. You don't have to be so polite." Mo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently at the remnant spirit's greeting and said, "Tell me about your origins." "My origin?" Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's request, the remnant spirit hesitated for a moment before replying, "Master, I am Dark Dawn, a direct descendant of the Dark Sky Sacred Clan in the Heaven Realm. During one of my training sessions, I was plotted against and accidentally fell into the spatial turbulence. After that, I perished in that space." The remnant spirit briefly explained his situation to Mo Qingyun. After listening to the remnant spirit's explanation, the curiosity on Mo Qingyun's face immediately intensified. He asked, "Tell me more about the Heavenly Realm and the Dark Heaven's holy clans." "Heaven Realm? Dark Sky Sacred Clan?" Under Mo Qingyun's questioning, the remnant spirit revealed a blank expression, as if he didn't know anything at all. After thinking for a while, the remnant spirit revealed an ashamed expression and said, "Master, This subordinate is just a remnant spirit, so my memories are incomplete. In my memories, there is no detailed information about the Heaven Realm and the Dark Sky Sacred Clan. Forget it, that's it. After listening to the remnant spirit's explanation, Mo Qingyun was a little disappointed, but he didn't ask any more questions. You have just been reborn in a body, so you still need to get used to it. Continue cultivating here. After instructing the remnant spirit, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he left the Fortune mainland. He had spent a lot of time cultivating this time, and if there were no accidents, he should be back at the Fortune Immortal Palace soon. Have we reached there? Mo Qingyun came to ZK's side and glanced in front of him and asked ZK Quebec seeing Mo Qingyun appear. ZK respectfully bowed and said, "Master, I have entered the wasteland prison world and will reach Chunyo City soon." Hearing ZK's answer, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding, and a sense of urgency arose in his heart. He thought to himself, I wonder what's the situation at the Fortune Immortal Palace. Did the Blood Ancestor bring people here? Did the Heavenly Star Dragon Rock Race make any moves? The more Mo Qingyun thought about it, the more anxious and worried he became. He couldn't wait to return to the Fortune Immortal Palace and see Qian Linglong and the others. Under Mo Qingyun's anticipation, they returned to the Chunyo City and directly rushed to the Fortune Immortal Palace. When Mo Qingyun arrived in front of the Fortune Immortal Palace and saw that it was intact, he finally relaxed. It seemed that the Fortune Immortal Palace hadn't been attacked, and Qian Linglong and the others should be fine. Chapter 2378. When Mo Qingyun walked into the Fortune Immortal Palace, he was stunned by the scene in front of him. At this moment, there were red lanterns hanging in the Fortune Immortal Palace. It was a joyous scene. The Fortune Immortal Palace is holding a wedding banquet, Mo Qingyun guessed as he looked at the scene in front of him. Just as Mo Qingyun was surprised, a strong sense of uneasiness suddenly appeared in his heart. He thought to himself, why do I feel uneasy all of a sudden? Is there a problem with this wedding banquet? When this feeling of uneasiness appeared, Mo Qingyun became anxious and hurried to find Qian Linglong and the others. Mo Qingyun quickly arrived at Qian Linglong's courtyard. He saw Qian Linglong, who was busy working. When he saw that Qian Linglong was fine, he was slightly relieved, and his expression became more relaxed. "Qingyun, you are back." When Qian Linglong saw Mo Qingyun walk in the courtyard, her face immediately lit up, and she quickly walked over to welcome him. At Qian Linglong's invitation, Mo Qingyun sat down on a wooden chair and asked, "Linglong, who is this wedding banquet for? Take a guess." When she heard Mo Qingyun's question, Qian Linglong revealed a playful smile and deliberately kept him in suspense. Mo Qingyun thought for a while and shook his head. He really couldn't think of anyone. Someone who could make such a big preparation must be the person closest to him. However, he really couldn't guess who this person was in such a short time. Give me a hint. When he saw Qian Linglong's interested face, Mo Qingyun didn't want to dampen her spirits and asked for a hint. When Qian Linglong heard Mo Qingyun's words, she tilted her head and pondered for a moment. Then, she said, "This person's father and mother are of the same generation as us. The fact that the two of them are together is closely related to us." When he heard Qian Linglong's hint, Mo Qingyun immediately knew who it was. His face was immediately filled with shock. "You said that Yu Yang is getting married?" After guessing who this person was, Mo Qingyun immediately asked. If it was him, everything would be as it should be. He was indeed qualified to do so. Who would have thought that the mischievous child from the Great Yin dynasty's Tianyin mansion would be getting married? Yes. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had guessed correctly, Qian Linglong nodded. After confirming that his guess was correct, Mo Qingyun became worried and asked, "Linglong, have you investigated the identity and background of the woman who married Yu Yang?" It was precisely because of their close relationship that Mo Qingyun was exceptionally concerned and did not dare to overlook anything. He had a vague feeling that the uneasiness in his heart was related to this marriage. Yes, I have. The girl's family has been in Shonyo City for thousands of years. When she heard Mo Qingyun's question, Qian Linglong immediately guessed his thoughts and told him about the girl's family. After knowing the girl's background, Mo Qingyun's heart was slightly at ease. He continued to ask Qian Linglong, "Recently in Shonyo City, did you discover any external forces or any suspicious people or anything unusual?" "I did not discover anything." Qian Linglong shook her head and gave a simple reply. When Qian Linglong's words left her mouth, her expression suddenly changed, and she exclaimed, "Oh yes, recently in the Fortune Immortal Palace, there have been some unusual things." "Oh, what is it?" Mo Qingyun was curious and looked at Qian Linglong nervously. Under Mo Qingyun's nervous gaze, Qian Linglong's beautiful eyes sharpened. She said, "Recently in the Fortune Immortal Palace, many of the direct descendants have married the daughters of the families in Shonyo City. Could there be a conspiracy behind this? Is there such a thing?" Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. He immediately realized that something was wrong. If it was as he had guessed, the situation was a little bad. This move is really ruthless. The more Mo Qingyun thought about it, the more he felt that his guess was right. At the same time, he was somewhat impressed by the opponent this time. Although this move was ruthless, he had to admit that it was very destructive. Through marriage, people had infiltrated the Fortune Immortal Palace. This was no doubt a great danger. If it was not handled properly, it could cause the disciples of the Fortune Immortal Palace to hold a grudge. Most importantly, although Mo Qingyun had guessed that this could be a big conspiracy, he could not expose it. As a result, he was in a very passive situation. "Qingyun, do you mean that this is the enemy's conspiracy?" After Mo Qingyun's reminder, Qian Linglong also felt that something was wrong. She looked worried and said, "What should we do now? Stop Yu Yang from marrying the other party? Then capture all the women who have married into the Fortune Immortal Palace and interrogate them? Don't take any action before it is confirmed. I hope that I am overthinking." Mo Qingyun shook his head and rejected Qian Linglong's suggestion. He said with a cold expression, "Otherwise, no matter who the opponent is, I will not let him off for plotting against my family." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong immediately nodded. She had the same thought in her heart. "You continue to take care of things here. I will make the arrangements." After learning the general situation from Qian Linglong, Mo Qingyun left the courtyard. The current situation was very unfavorable, and time was very tight. He had to make arrangements immediately. Shonyo City, Jiang Mansion, Conference Hall. At this moment, Jiang Huaiwei, the master of the Jiang family, was standing respectfully in the hall. "My lords, everything has been prepared. We will be able to hold the wedding ceremony tomorrow." Jiang Huaiwei glanced at everyone in the hall in awe. He had a respectful expression on his face as he carefully reported to everyone. Hearing Jiang Huaiwei's report, everyone in the hall nodded with satisfaction, and a cold smile appeared on their lips. The strong young man sitting at the top of the hall sneered and looked at the cold-looking young man beside him. He said, "Shi Xiao, your plan is very good. Once the pawns infiltrate the Fortune Immortal Palace, even if Mo Qingyun comes back, he will not be able to do anything. Thank you for your praise, Brother Shirhan. I only know how to come up with some ideas. I still have to learn from you in terms of cultivation." Hearing the former's praise, Shi Xiao waved her hand modestly and said with some regret, "It is a pity that Mo Qingyun has not come back. Otherwise, we would have been able to take action. There is no hurry. We have nothing to do anyway. Let's play with him slowly." Shirhan was not anxious about Shi Xiao's worries. He had a playful expression on his face and said, "I want to see how Mo Qingyun will deal with the pregnancy of the pawns." Hearing Shirhan's words, Shi Xiao and the others were shocked, and anticipation appeared on their faces. Chapter 2379. While Shirhan and Shi Xiao were talking, a young man walked into the main hall. When he arrived in front of Shirhan and Shi Xiao, the young man said excitedly, "Brother Shirhan, Brother Shi Xiao, the Palace of Creation sent a message saying that Mo Qingyun has returned. Mo Qingyun has returned. Shirhan was shocked when he heard the news. He stood up from his chair and sneered. We were just talking about Mo Qingyun. I didn't expect him to return so quickly. What a pleasant surprise. Brother Shirhan, since Mo Qingyun has returned, should we change our plan? Shi Zhao's face turned cold when he heard that Mo Qingyun had returned. He immediately asked Shirhan. Clearly, he already had a new plan in his mind. Shirhan frowned when he heard Shi Zhao's words. He was considering whether to change their plan. After thinking for a while, Shirhan looked at Shi Zhao and asked, Brother Shi Zhao, do you have any good suggestions? Why don't you tell us? The way he saw it, Shi Zhao was still better at strategizing. It's not a good suggestion. I just have an idea. Shi Zhao's lips curled into a cold smile as she responded to Shirhan. She said, Our goal this time is to deal with Mo Qingyun. He hasn't appeared yet, so we set up this trap to give him a surprise. Now that he's back, there's no need to waste time. We can kill our way over. Everyone nodded when they heard Shi Zhao's words. They felt that he made sense. Brother Shi Zhao is right. It's a waste of time to continue waiting. With our strength, dealing with the Palace of Creation is a piece of cake. My saber is thirsty for blood. It must be bathed in blood to calm down. Everyone was excited when they heard Shi Zhao's idea. They tried to persuade Shirhan. Seeing everyone's reaction, before Shirhan could speak, Shi Zhao spoke first. Everyone, don't be so anxious. Mo Qingyun is already a turtle in a jar. We can't worry about him escaping. It won't be too late to wait for another night. Why wait another night? Shirhan was curious and looked at Shi Zhao again, waiting for him to give a reason. Under Shirhan's gaze, Shi Zhao's smile widened. Tomorrow, when the immortal Palace of Fortune holds its wedding banquet, we will go and attack them. Wouldn't it be better to give them a big gift? Hearing Shi Zhao's words, Shirhan and the others all nodded, feeling that this suggestion was very good. After agreeing with Shi Zhao's suggestion, Shirhan stood up and nodded at everyone. Since that's the case, let's do as Shi Zhao said. We'll give the Celestial Palace of Fortune a big gift tomorrow. Following Shirhan's words, Shi Zhao and the others began to discuss the details of their plan. Inside the Palace of Creation, Mo Qingyun did not know that Shi Zhao and the others had come to Chunyo City and were hiding in the Jiangfu. Otherwise, he would have stopped the wedding and chased away the woman who married into the Palace of Fortune. After leaving Qian Linglong's courtyard, he went to look for Long Yutian and Mo Xian to warn them. Qingyun, you're back. You're smart enough to come back in time. Uncle Qingyun, Mr. Mo, you're back. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had arrived, the people from the Mo and Long families all greeted him. Mo Qingyun responded indifferently to everyone's greetings and said, Sister Mo Xian, Cousin Yutian, come with me. I have something to tell you. Okay. Seeing Mo Qingyun's expression, Long Yutian and Mo Xian were shocked and immediately left with Mo Qingyun. Based on their understanding of Mo Qingyun, based on Mo Qingyun's current behavior, he obviously had something important to tell them. After a while, under Mo Qingyun's lead, the three of them arrived at a secret room. Qingyun, why did you ask us to come here? Mo Xian, who had a straightforward personality, asked Mo Qingyun directly after entering the secret room. Hearing Mo Xian's words, Long Yutian was also curious. He wanted to know what Mo Qingyun wanted to tell them. Under their gazes, Mo Qingyun put on a solemn expression and said in a low voice, I think that Yu Yang's marriage might be a conspiracy. A conspiracy? Mo Xian and Long Yutian were shocked. Their faces were filled with disbelief, and they felt that it was impossible. However, due to their trust in Mo Qingyun, they also felt that Mo Qingyun's words could not be false. After a short moment of shock, Mo Xian was puzzled and said, Qingyun, with the Palace of Fortune's status in Chunyo City, the Jiang family shouldn't dare to plot against us, right? Hearing Mo Xian's words, Long Yutian nodded in agreement. He felt the same way. Mo Qingyun didn't find it strange that Mo Xian and Long Yutian would think this way. He could understand what they were thinking. Because his family on the Tianhan continent was relatively weak, Mo Qingyun didn't tell them about the celestial Dragonstone clan. This was to prevent his family on the Tianhun continent from being frightened if they knew. But now, Mo Qingyun decided not to hide it from them. He said in a low voice, "Sister Mo Xen, cousin Yuqian, there is something I need to tell you. When I went to the Path of Stars, I offended a powerful clan from the outside world. I am worried that this matter might have something to do with them. Also, the blood progenitor of the Dark Demon clan has awakened. This matter might have something to do with them." Hearing this, Moxian and Long Yutian's expressions changed drastically. They realized the seriousness of the matter. "Cousin Qingyun, are these two forces very strong? Can the Palace of Fortune defeat them?" Long Yutian looked nervous as he asked Mo Qingyun. He was very worried. He knew that if the matter wasn't serious, Mo Qingyun wouldn't have reminded them. Hearing Long Yutian's question, Mo Qingyun's expression became even more serious. He said in a low voice, "With the Palace of Fortune's current strength, we don't have much confidence in winning against either of them. At most, we only have a 50-50 chance of winning." Knowing the strength of the two forces, Moxian and Long Yutian's eyes widened in shock. If that was the case, then the situation was not good. "Qingyun, what should we do now? Should we stop the wedding?" Knowing the current situation, Moxian was anxious. She couldn't help but worry for Long Yuyang. Looking at the anxious Moxian, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment and came up with a good idea. He said, "How about this? We will continue with the wedding, but not here. We will move it to the Fortune mainland. When the matter here is settled, I will call you back." "This is a good idea. Cousin Qingyun, you have a good idea." Hearing Mo Qingyun's suggestion, Moxian and Long Yutian nodded in agreement. Chapter 2380. It didn't take long for everyone to be sent to the Fortune mainland. After everyone was sent to the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun instructed Yu Dihai and the others to keep an eye on the women who had married into the Fortune Immortal Palace. Although these women's cultivation wasn't high, they were still a threat to the Heavenly Soul Continent's people. In order to make sure nothing went wrong, it was necessary to send people to keep an eye on them. Next, we just have to wait for the enemy to come. After everything was settled, Mo Qingyun breathed a sigh of relief. His heart was finally at ease. Now that the Heavenly Soul Continent's people had moved, even if he couldn't defeat the enemy, he could still escape. A day passed in the blink of an eye. Early the next morning, some guests arrived and were seated under ZK's arrangement. Not long after the guests arrived, the Jiang family's people arrived and entered the Fortune Immortal Palace aggressively. ZK and the others weren't surprised by the Jiang family's attitude, as if they had already expected it. It seemed like Mo Qingyun's speculation was right. This marriage was indeed a conspiracy. Noticing the Jiang family's behavior, ZK and the others were secretly on guard, guarding against any sudden attacks. While everyone was guarding against the Jiang family, Mo Qingyun noticed Shi Shao and the others and smiled faintly. "Heavenly Star Dragon Rocklands people, since you're here, there's no need to disguise yourselves." After discovering that there were no Galaxy Realm experts among the Heavenly Star Dragon Rocklands people, Mo Qingyun's worries were put to rest. With his current strength and the help of Enchun, it was enough to deal with Shi Shao and the others. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shi Han and the others looked at each other in dismay. They were a little surprised by this situation. They didn't expect that Mo Qingyun would detect them as soon as they arrived. "Mo Qingyun, your vigilance is really high. No wonder you escaped from my clan's pursuit." Seeing that their identities were exposed, Shi Shao and the others no longer disguised themselves and stood out one by one with a sneer. When Shi Shao stood out from the crowd, he discovered the changes in Mo Qingyun's cultivation. A look of shock appeared on his face as he said, Your cultivation has actually broken through to the peak of the mid-stage True Saint realm." This discovery gave him quite a fright. He clearly remembered that Mo Qingyun had just broken through to the Saint realm more than a month ago. Mo Qingyun's cultivation had risen from the initial stage of the Sage Realm to the peak of the intermediate stage of the Sage Realm in just over a month. This kind of cultivation speed could be called abnormal. There's nothing I can do about it. In order to deal with you, I have no choice but to cultivate as hard as I can. In response to Shi Zhao's surprised words, Mo Qingyun's expression remained calm as he gave a simple reply. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shi Han, who was beside Shi Zhao, laughed mockingly and shook his head. Given your cultivation speed, if you were given another year or so, my clan may not be able to do anything to you. Unfortunately, you won't have the chance. I don't need a year or so. If I want to deal with you, now is enough. In response to Shi Han's contemptuous words, Mo Qingyun smiled and retorted. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's rebuttal, Shi Han and the others sneered. They thought that Mo Qingyun was boasting. This kid is really arrogant. Does he think that he can fight with us? I'm afraid he doesn't know that Brother Shi Han's true strength is already comparable to a galaxy-grade elite. Brother Shi Han, let's attack him directly and let him know what despair is. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Big Dipper Dragon Rock Clan laughed mockingly and clenched their fists. Upon seeing the reactions of the people around him, Shi Han nodded with a faint smile and said, "You guys go and deal with the others. I will personally deal with Mo Qingyun and see what he is capable of." Yes. Upon hearing Shi Han's order, Shi Zhao and the others immediately responded and charged towards ZK and the others. While Shi Zhao and the others were attacking, Shi Han arrived above Mo Qingyun and sneered condescendingly. "Today, I will destroy the Fortune Immortal Palace as a congratulatory gift to you. The few of you don't have the ability to do so." Upon hearing Shi Han's words, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain. Then he tapped his forehead and said, "Enchantment, come out. It's time for you to perform." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, a terrifying aura that could shake the heavens and split the earth erupted from between his brows. Galaxy grade. He is most likely at the intermediate stage of the galaxy grade. Sensing Enchen's aura, Shi Han was immediately shocked. His eyes were wide open. They had never imagined that there would be such a powerhouse by Mo Qingyun's side. This time, they had been careless. Then, Enchant appeared beside Mo Qingyun under the shocked gazes of Shi Han and the others. Seeing Enchant step forward, Shi Zhao's eyelids twitched and his face darkened. "Oh no, I underestimated this kid again. I didn't expect him to have such a trump card. The situation is not good." Realizing that the situation was not good, Shi Zhao thought quickly and made a decision. The person beside Mo Qingyun is too strong. Shi Han may not be his match. If Shi Han is defeated, I will definitely die if I stay. Also, Mo Qingyun looks fearless. He may have something else to rely on. It's better for me to leave this place. After weighing the pros and cons, Shi Zhao made a decision. He was not willing to stay and take the risk. Shi Zhao's figure flashed and quickly slipped into the crowd. He escaped with the help of the people around him. Because Shi Zhao's strength was not weak, in addition to his stealthy escape, he was not discovered by anyone. "Enchun, go and deal with the others. Leave this person to me." Mo Qingyun summoned Enchun and gave him some instructions. Then he flew toward Shi Han and said, "I've just made a breakthrough in my cultivation. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to find someone to practice with. You came just in time." Mo Qingyun was not confident that he could deal with a galaxy-grade powerhouse. However, Shi Han was different. In Mo Qingyun's eyes, Shi Han was undoubtedly the most suitable sparring partner. "Humph, I've heard everything about you." Shi Han snorted unhappily at Mo Qingyun's provocation. His eyes were filled with disdain as he said, "Although you are not weak, you are only comparable to a mid-stage Nebula Realm cultivator. I only need one move to deal with a mid-stage Nebula Realm cultivator. Even if you are slightly stronger than them, it will only take 2 moves." Although he had heard a lot of rumors about Mo Qingyun, he did not take them to heart. In his impression, Mo Qingyun's talent wasn't bad, but his strength wasn't enough to catch his attention. Haha, is that so? Hearing Han's disdainful words, Qingyun smiled and said, I hope you can still say that when we fight later. Don't be scared by my strength. Chapter 2381. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. Seeing that Qingyun had taken the initiative to attack, Han looked at Qingyun with disdain. When Han made his move, he activated his Saint Power Star cluster and raised his strength to the maximum. Judging from his actions, it seemed that he wanted to defeat Qingyun in one move and then capture Qingyun. In his opinion, whether they could leave alive or not depended on whether they could capture Qingyun. After all, with Chen's strength at the middle stage of the galaxy grade, none of them could compete with him. 1,872 Saint Power Star clusters, which is more than 100 less than mine. Seeing the number of Saint Power Star clusters that Han had, Qingyun's lips curled up slightly, and he was secretly delighted. Based on the performance of Shao and the others, he could tell that Shao was a genius of the Heavenly Dragon Rock clan. Even with Han's status, the number of Saint Power Star clusters that he had condensed was only slightly more than 1,800. One could imagine how difficult it was to condense a Saint Power Star cluster and how terrifying his number was. I have a Saint Power Star cluster too. Facing an existence like Han, Qingyun did not dare to hold back and immediately activated his Saint Power Star cluster. Then, a group of domineering flames appeared beside Qingyun. After Qingyun activated the Saint Power Star cluster, they formed an array formation and emitted a monstrous flame power. 2,000 Saint Power Star clusters. How is this possible? Seeing the number of Saint Power Star clusters that Qingyun had, Han immediately trembled in fear and said with a shocked expression, even if the number of Saint Power Star clusters that one can condense in each realm reaches a limit, one can only condense 1,000 at most. How did he manage to condense 2,000? At this moment, Han's heart was filled with confusion, and at the same time, he felt a blow. In the same realm, Qingyun had condensed more than 10 times the number of Saint Power Star clusters that he had. From this performance, it was clear that his talent was crushed by Qingyun. No matter how many Saint Power Star clusters there are, it's useless if they don't condense the power of the nebula. Suppressing the shock in his heart, Han said disdainfully, as if he wanted to comfort himself. Hearing Han's words, the corners of Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He smiled faintly and said, whether it's useful or not, we'll know once we fight. Holy Glory Theurgy, Ignite. Dragon Source Tyrant Body. Fire of Civilization. Demonic Star Splitting Palm. Arriving in front of Han, Qingyun used several spirit techniques in succession and slapped down at Han. An imposing flame energy gathered on Qingyun's palm and turned into a huge flaming palm. As soon as the huge flaming palm was formed, it crushed down on Han with the force of Mount Tai. When Qingyun made his move, the surrounding Heavenly Star Dragon Rock race's experts burst into flames. Apart from that, a terrifying lightning energy was also attacking them crazily. What theurgy is this? It's so terrifying. This is the Holy Glory Theurgy. That kid comprehended it when he broke through to the Saint Realm. This kid's Holy Glory Theurgy is even more powerful than before. Among the Heavenly Star Dragon Rock race's experts, some who were familiar with Qingyun said in shock. Being attacked by the Holy Glory Theurgy, Han was also shocked. He looked at Qingyun in shock and said, "You've awakened the Holy Glory Theurgy." After this discovery, Han's jealousy of Qingyun became even more intense. When he broke through to the Saint Realm, he did not awaken the Holy Glory Theurgy. In terms of talent, he was once again defeated. This kind of thing was really hard for him to accept. Rock Dragon shakes the sky. Although he was jealous and shocked, Han immediately used his Theurgy to defend against the flaming palm. Han clenched his fists tightly and bent his body slightly forward. His body exploded with terrifying saint power. When the saint power exploded, it was like a hurricane spinning wildly outside his body. Zap! Shirhan roared angrily. The saint power hurricane outside his body immediately rushed toward the flaming palm. The saint power hurricane left Shirhan's body and turned into a huge wind dragon. It stirred up the sky and the earth. Bang, bang, bang. The wind dragon crashed into the flaming palm and exploded with loud bangs. It twisted its body crazily. At this moment, the wind dragon seemed to want to break through its shackles and crazily attacked the flaming palm. Every time the wind dragon twisted its body, it would emit an earth-shattering sound, creating a terrifying force storm. Seeing the commotion caused by the battle between Mo Qingyun and Mo Qingyun, the surrounding people were greatly shocked, and their expressions changed one by one. This is too terrifying. What realm is Mo Qingyun in? Rumor has it that he has broken through to the saint realm. It seems like it's true. What a peerless genius. He has broken through the shackles of the wild continent for millions of years. He's a miracle. I wonder how far he can go. Seeing the battle between Mo Qingyun and Shirhan, the people who came to attend the wedding banquet were all shocked. At the same time, the reverence in their hearts instantly became stronger. And Shin was also shocked when he saw the strength displayed by Mo Qingyun. It seems like I have underestimated Master's strength. I didn't expect his combat strength to have already reached the galaxy grade. This discovery really frightened Enchun quite a bit, and he was a little more afraid of Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was only at the mid-stage of the Saint Realm. His strength had already reached the galaxy grade. If he broke through to the galaxy grade, how terrifying would his strength be? Sigh, was it right or wrong for me to submit to him? And Shun had a complicated expression on his face as he thought about Mo Qingyun's future achievements. He had a strong feeling of regret. After lamenting for a while, Enchin's attacks became sharper. He wanted to end the battle faster. As Enchin's attacks intensified, one of the powerhouses from the Big Dipper Dragon Rock tribe was killed in the blink of an eye. Shirhan, 2 moves have passed. It seems like you haven't defeated me yet. After exchanging 2 moves with Shirhan, Mo Qingyun smiled sarcastically. His expression gradually turned cold as he said, "Since you can't defeat me, I can only defeat you and end our battle." After saying that, Mo Qingyun's figure moved, and he took the initiative to attack Shirhan again. Boom! Boom! As Mo Qingyun attacked again, he and Shirhan engaged in a frenzied battle. Their battle was earth-shattering and earth-shattering. After exchanging a few moves with Shirhan, Mo Qingyun became bolder and bolder. He simply faced Shirhan head-on. "Humph! My tribe is famous for its strong physical body. You actually want to compete with me in terms of physical strength? You're courting death." Shirhan smiled proudly when he saw that Mo Qingyun was facing him head-on. It was as if he had already defeated Mo Qingyun. Chapter 2382. However, after exchanging blows with Mo Qingyun several times, Shirhan was once again dumbfounded. What shocked him was that Mo Qingyun's physical strength was actually stronger than his by half a level. This discovery was another blow to him. He was so aggrieved that he almost vomited blood. No, this is impossible. How can his physical body be stronger than mine? Seeing that the physical body that he was so proud of was actually no match for Mo Qingyun, Shirhan could no longer remain calm. After exchanging blows with Mo Qingyun several times, he was completely defeated. He was mercilessly crushed by Mo Qingyun. Was there anything more shocking than this? It seems like the physical body of the Heavenly Dragon Rock clan is not that great. Looking at the crazed Shirhan, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain. He mocked Shirhan and said, "What other skills do you have? Show them all. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to show them." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't wait for Shirhan's reply and chased after him again. "Brat, you've gone too far." Seeing Mo Qingyun's overbearing attitude, Shirhan was so angry that his face turned green. His heart was filled with anger. A brat in the intermediate saint realm dared to look down on him and humiliate him. He could not accept this. More importantly, his and Mo Qingyun's statuses had been completely reversed. This psychological difference was too unbearable. Humph! Don't be too complacent. The battle is not over yet. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Shirhan put on a cold and arrogant expression and said, "Even if your talent is amazing, your bloodline is not something that can be changed. You're just a lowly person from a barren continent. Your bloodline is definitely not strong. Watch me crush you with my bloodline power." As Shirhan spoke, he activated the power of his bloodline and unleashed a powerful bloodline power. Shirhan's bloodline power erupted and crushed the surrounding people, causing their blood to boil. Ancient bloodline. Sensing the grade of Shirhan's bloodline, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He thought to himself, if I hadn't fused with a new bloodline, with Shirhan's powerful bloodline, even if I have the Genesis bloodline, I would still be suppressed by him. This discovery surprised Mo Qingyun, and he sighed inwardly. Shirhan's talent was indeed not weak. It was a pity that Shirhan's bloodline was not enough for him at the moment. If it was in the past, your bloodline would indeed be able to suppress me. But now it's far from enough. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he also activated his bloodline and shouted, "Absolute beginning darkness fortune bloodline, bloodline suppression." Mo Qingyun had given the new bloodline this name because it had fused the advantages of several other bloodlines. As his bloodline was activated, an even more terrifying bloodline power erupted from Mo Qingyun's body. Under the absolute beginning darkness fortune bloodline's power, the surrounding people spat out mouthfuls of blood. Then, they looked at Mo Qingyun with great shock in their eyes. What a terrifying bloodline power. It almost killed me. Even a number 1 bloodline on the 10,000 ancient races board doesn't have such power. This bloodline definitely doesn't exist in the wild continent. How did Mo Qingyun obtain it? Mo Qingyun is too mysterious. Where did he come from? Under the pressure of Mo Qingyun's bloodline, everyone was shocked. They looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. Mo Qingyun's performance was too shocking and too strange. It made him seem even more mysterious. Is this the bloodline of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan? Sensing Mo Qingyun's bloodline power, Chun was shocked at first. Then, he became confused and said, "No, this isn't the bloodline of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan. Although they're very similar, there are some fundamental differences. I can't see through Master anymore." He was the remnant spirit of an expert from the Dark Heaven Holy Clan, so he was very familiar with the bloodline of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan. He could sense that the bloodline in Mo Qingyun's body was similar to the bloodline of the Dark Heavenly Holy Gate, but it was more mysterious than the bloodline of the Dark Heavenly Holy Gate. Poof! Under the pressure of Mo Qingyun's bloodline power, Shirhan spat out mouthfuls of blood. His face was filled with shock. He couldn't believe that he had lost even more in terms of bloodline power. What bloodline is this? Why is it so powerful? After suffering another huge blow, Shirhan almost cried. He felt as though there was a huge rock in his chest. He couldn't continue the fight. He felt that if he continued, he would only suffer more blows. It's a bloodline that you have never seen before. Mo Qingyun answered Shirhan's question with a faint smile. He then said, "It seems like you have run out of tricks. If that's the case, I'll have to end the fight." Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, once again rushing towards Shirhan, frantically throwing punches at him. Under Mo Qingyun's punches, terrifying flame power exploded from his body. Every time Mo Qingyun threw a punch, he would blast out a huge fist shadow, crushing down on Shirhan. Faced with Mo Qingyun's crazy attacks, Shirhan was forced to retreat. He had become a punching bag. Mo Qingyun, you forced me to do this. Under Mo Qingyun's strong oppression, Shirhan was completely enraged. His eyes turned red. As soon as Shirhan finished speaking, he detonated all the Saint Power Star clusters to increase his strength. It seemed that Shirhan was completely crazy. He wanted to die together with Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun, if you want me to die, you'll have to die with me. After detonating all the Saint Power Star clusters, Shi Han looked crazy. He gritted his teeth and shouted angrily. And Chun and the others were shocked when they saw Shi Han's reaction. They became worried. After detonating the Saint Power Star clusters, Shi Han's aura was no weaker than Shen's. Faced with such terrifying combat power, Mo Qingyun probably wouldn't be able to withstand it. Master, be careful. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was in a bad situation, and Chun looked anxious. He immediately rushed toward Mo Qingyun. Now that his life was tied to Mo Qingyun, he couldn't let Mo Qingyun be in danger. Just as everyone was worried about Mo Qingyun's eyes turned cold. He said with a cold expression, "Humph. In that case, I'll let you have a taste of my new natal superpower." Looking at Shi Han, who was getting closer and closer, Mo Qingyun flipped his palm. A cold and eerie aura burst out. Then, a small black door of light condensed in Mo Qingyun's palm. Door of death. Mo Qingyun flipped his palm, and the small black door of light blasted out from his palm. As the black door of light blasted out, it grew rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it was dozens of feet tall. Chapter 2383. Boom! The door of death landed firmly on the ground and let out a deafening sound that shook the heavens and the earth. Shi Han's aura disappeared as soon as he was imprisoned by the door of death. It was as if he had been sealed in another realm. Everyone was shocked when they saw this. Their eyes widened as they looked at each other. The power of this superpower was beyond their understanding. While everyone was still in shock, they noticed that Shi Han's body was slowly turning gray. Shi Han's body turned gray and started to turn into sand. In the blink of an eye, he turned into ashes. Brother Shi Han is dead. No, this can't be true. How could Brother Shi Han lose to him? If even Brother Shi Han is no match for him, then they're no match for him. How is this possible? He's only a saint. How can he be so strong? The elites of the Heavenly Star Dragon Rock clan were horrified when they saw Shi Han turn into ashes. Shi Han's death made them despair, and their faces turned ashen. This is the natural superpower of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan. And Shun immediately recognized the superpower when he saw Mo Qingyun use it. His face was filled with shock as he said, "I didn't expect Master's bloodline to be able to comprehend the natural superpower of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan. It seems like this bloodline is more mysterious than I thought." After this discovery, the way Chun looked at Mo Qingyun changed again. He realized that the more he interacted with Mo Qingyun, the more he couldn't see through Mo Qingyun. After using the superpower to kill Shi Han, Mo Qingyun turned to Chun and ordered, "Chun, leave these people intact. Their bodies are useful to me." The Heavenly Star Dragon Rock clan's cultivations were all in the Nebula realm. If they were refined into spiritual puppets, they would be a powerful force. Refining these people into spiritual puppets and using them to protect the Palace of Fortune would make the Palace of Fortune much safer. Yes. After hearing Mo Qingyun's orders, Chun immediately nodded and continued to deal with the Heavenly Star Dragon Rock clan. Not long after, the Heavenly Constellation Dragonstone clan's people were killed by Chen's tyrannical attacks with unwillingness and fear. Mo Qingyun waved his hand and collected the corpses when he saw the Heavenly Dipper Dragon Rock clan members being killed. After dealing with the Big Dipper Dragon Rock tribe, Mo Qingyun turned to ZK and said, "ZK, bring some men to Cheonyo City and imprison the families of the women who married into the Celestial Palace of Fortune. Don't let them escape." Mo Qingyun didn't care whether these families were forced or not. Since they were involved in this matter, they had to pay a price. Otherwise, once they were pressured, they would not hesitate to attack the immortal palace of creation. Yes. After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, ZK immediately left with his men to carry out Mo Qingyun's orders. After dealing with everything, Mo Qingyun returned to his residence and entered the Fortune mainland. After entering the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun went straight to Qingyun Valley to find Long Yutian and the others who were busy. Qingyun, is everything settled? Seeing Mo Qingyun's arrival, Long Ruolin and the others were concerned and immediately asked Mo Qingyun, "Don't worry, everything is settled." Hearing everyone's questions, Mo Qingyun comforted them and said, "We were lucky this time. There were no Galaxy Realm experts among the people sent by the Heavenly Star Dragon Rock clan, so it wasn't too difficult to deal with them." When he sent them to the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun had already told them about the Heavenly Star Dragon Rock clan and the Blood Ancestor. Therefore, they were so nervous when they saw Mo Qingyun. That's good, as long as everything is fine. Since this is a conspiracy, how should we deal with those women who married into the immortal palace of creation? Also, should we continue with Yu Yang's wedding? What if Jiang Ran has bad intentions? Wouldn't Yu Yang be in danger? That's right. This matter must be handled carefully. There can't be any negligence. After learning about the situation, Mo Hongtian and the others' expressions became tense and difficult. Those women had already married into the immortal palace of creation and were already married to the juniors. It was inappropriate to forcefully separate them. Under everyone's questioning, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment and said, "We can't force this matter. Call all the juniors in and ask them what they think." Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's idea, Mo Hongtian nodded in agreement and ordered people to call the juniors in. Soon, all the juniors who had married recently arrived in the main hall. Regarding your marriage, it was a conspiracy set up by someone else. I'm sure you all know about it. Mo Hongtian did not beat around the bush when he saw that everyone had entered the main hall. He went straight to the point and said, "Originally, the celestial palace of creation would not take in these women who came with ill intentions. However, you are juniors after all. Therefore, we will ask for your opinion on how to deal with them. Thank you for understanding us, great-grandfather. Since this woman came with bad intentions, I don't want her. Uncle Master Qingyun, Zhang Yi was also forced. I want her to stay by my side. Although Wu Yi came with bad intentions, she and I were husband and wife. Please spare her life." In an instant, the juniors in the main hall voiced their opinions one after another. Because everyone had different personalities, there were some differences in their decisions. No one commented on the juniors' decisions. It was normal for everyone to have different opinions. After knowing the juniors' thoughts, everyone looked at Mo Qingyun and waited for Mo Qingyun's decision. Under everyone's gazes, Mo Qingyun said with a solemn expression, "Originally, I would not have shown mercy to these people who came with bad intentions towards the immortal palace of creation. However, since you all have pleaded for mercy, I will be lenient with them. Thank you, Uncle Master Qingyun. Thank you, Uncle Master Qingyun." Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the juniors were pleasantly surprised, and their faces were filled with excitement. Under everyone's nervous gazes, Mo Qingyun thought for a while before saying, "I can let them stay, but I have to erase their memories and seal their cultivation. They will become ordinary people from now on. As for the women who left, I will not make things difficult for them. I will leave them to fend for themselves. However, the patriarchs and elders who were involved in this matter must be severely punished, and all of them must be killed." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he looked at everyone and began to ask for their opinions. "Do you have any objections to my arrangement?" "We have no objections." Under Mo Qingyun's inquiry, everyone immediately nodded and agreed with Mo Qingyun's decision. Chapter 2384. Sister Mo Xian, call Yu Yang over. I want to ask him what he thinks. Long Yuyang and Jiang Ran's wedding was in the midst of preparations, so it was different from the others. Therefore, Mo Qingyun did not deal with Long Yuyang's matter like the others. All right, hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Mo Xian got up and walked out of the hall to call Long Yuyang. Soon, Long Yuyang followed Mo Xian in, his expression a little solemn. It seemed like Mo Xian had already told him that Mo Qingyun had summoned him. Yuyong greets the elders. Long Yuyong walked into the hall and bowed to everyone, standing respectfully in the center of the hall. Mo Qingyun nodded indifferently at Long Yuyong's greeting and said directly, "Yuyong, Sister Mo Xn should have told you the details of the matter, right?" "Yes." Long Yuyong nodded at Mo Qingyun's question, his expression a little pained. Obviously, he had fallen in love with Jiang Ran and could not easily give up on this relationship. Seeing Long Yuyong's expression, Mo Qingyun immediately guessed his thoughts and said, "There are two ways to deal with the matter between you and Jiang Ran. The first is that I erase Jiang Ran's memory, and she continues to hold the wedding with you. You two can start afresh. The other is that you give up on this relationship and become strangers with her." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Long Yuyong hesitated, thinking about what he should do. "Uncle Qingyun, let Jiang Ran leave." Long Yuyong hesitated for a while, then clenched his fists and made a difficult decision. Hearing Long Yuyong's decision, Mo Qingyun's expression froze. He was surprised by this result. He could see that Long Yuyong had deep feelings for Jiang Ran, but he did not expect him to choose to give up. Not only was Mo Qingyun surprised, but Mo Xin and the others were also surprised by Long Yuyong's decision. "I'm a direct descendant of the immortal Palace of Fortune. I should set a good example in everything. I can't just think about myself." Under everyone's puzzled gazes, Long Yuyong revealed his thoughts with a serious expression. "Even though I'm very reluctant to give up this relationship has been a mistake since the beginning. I can't let it continue to be a mistake." "Good, well said." After hearing Long Yuyong's words, Mo Qingyun had a gratified expression and praised Long Yuyong. He never thought that someone of Long Yuyong's age would be able to say such words. From the looks of it, if Long Yuyong was properly nurtured, he might have great achievements in the future. "Elders, there's no need to prepare the wedding banquet anymore. I'll take my leave first." After Long Yuyong finished speaking, he bid farewell to everyone and walked out of the hall. Seeing Long Yuyong's reaction, Mo Xion's heart ached. She wanted to chase after him and comfort him. "Let him go. Yuyong has already grown up. He can learn to be independent." Seeing Mo Xion's action, Long Yutian pulled her back and said, "This matter will be a turning point in his life. If he survives, his future will be bright." After listening to Long Yutian's words, Mo Xion nodded and did not look for Long Yuyong. With Long Yuyong's decision, this matter came to an end. Not long after Long Yuyong left, everyone also left one after another. They were sent out of the Fortune mainland by Mo Qingyun. After sending everyone out of the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun entered seclusion to refine a spiritual puppet. While Mo Qingyun was immersed in his cultivation, the various families' patriarchs and elders who were involved in this matter were all killed. Not only that, these families were also driven out of Cheonyo City and left to fend for themselves. Heavenly Star Dragonstone Clan, inside the main hall. A gray-robed old man walked into the hall in a hurry. "Elder Shi Xiao, why are you in such a hurry? Did something big happen?" Seeing Shi Xiao walk into the hall, Shi Xiao, who was sitting on the right side of the hall, asked with a solemn expression. Shi Xiao was responsible for looking after the Soul Jade Tablet Hall. Unless a direct descendant died, he would not leave. Seeing Shi Xiao rush over, it was obvious that a direct descendant had died. Hearing Stone Puppet's words, the people next to him were shocked and looked at him nervously. Under everyone's gazes, Shi Xiao's brow furrowed as he quickly said, "Patriarch, things are not good. Of the juniors we sent to the Wild Continent, only Shi Xiao's Soul Jade token is intact. All of them have shattered." "What? Shi Han's and the others' Soul Jade tablets shattered? How is that possible? Shi Han's strength is comparable to an early Galaxy Realm Master. Who could kill him? In the entire Dragonstone Galaxy, the number of people who can kill Shi Han can be counted on one hand. Who is it? Could it be Yun Peiyun Mainland's Yun and Tian? That guy's always been ambitious." After learning that Shi Han and the others had died, everyone in the hall immediately began to discuss. Seeing everyone's reaction, the patriarch of the Heavenly Dipper Dragon Rock race, Shir said with a gloomy expression, "Everyone, don't make wild guesses. Shao must be very clear about the specific situation of this matter. Everything will be clear when he returns." Hearing Shir's words, everyone agreed to wait for Shao to come back and investigate. After Shir's words fell, he pondered for a moment and said, "No matter who did it, the fact that Shirhan and the others died on the wild mainland means that the wild mainland is not simple. Do everything you can to find the specific location of the wild mainland." "Yes." Hearing Shir's order, Shao and the others responded and went to find the location of the wild mainland. Over the next few days, the Heavenly Dipper Dragon Rock Race was calm as everyone waited for Zhao's return. In the blink of an eye, 9 days had passed. With Shao rushing day and night, he finally returned to the Heavenly Star Dragon Rock clan after 9 days. As soon as Shao returned to the Heavenly Dipper Dragon Rock Race, he was summoned by and the others and brought to the meeting hall. Shao, who was it that killed Shirhan and the others? Looking at Shao, who was standing in the middle of the hall, Shir's expression was cold as he questioned Shao. Upon hearing Shir's question, Zhao's expression stiffened as he replied, "Patriarch, we underestimated Mo Qingyun's strength. There was a mid-level galaxy-grade powerhouse by his side." Mid-level galaxy-grade. Hearing Zhao's words, and the others were shocked, and their faces were filled with shock. At the same time, they immediately had an answer to their doubts. It wasn't strange that Shirhan and the others had been killed by a mid-level galaxy-grade powerhouse. After knowing this, and the others' killing intent towards Mo Qingyun immediately intensified. Chapter 2385. Not only that, but his cultivation base had already reached the peak of the intermediate stage of the Sage stage when he was dealing with Mo Qingyun. Zhao's heart palpitated when she thought about the speed at which Mo Qingyun's cultivation base had risen. She hurriedly reported this to and the others. Zhao's body shook when he heard Zhao's report. He immediately stood up from his chair and exclaimed, "What? You said that Mo Qingyun's cultivation base has broken through to the peak of the intermediate stage of the Sage stage?" He clearly remembered that Mo Qingyun's cultivation base had only been at the initial stage of the Sage stage when he had left the path of the galaxy. It had only been a month, but his cultivation base had already reached the peak of the intermediate stage of the Sage stage. "Elder Shirtan, is there anything wrong with this?" hadn't paid much attention to Mo Qingyun before this incident, so he wasn't aware of Mo Qingyun's situation. Therefore, he was a little puzzled when he saw Zhao's reaction. Zhao's expression immediately turned solemn when he heard Shir's question. "Patriarch, you may not know this, but when I left for the path of the galaxy a month ago, Mo Qingyun's cultivation base was only at the initial stage of the Sage stage." After the stone puppet's explanation, the hall immediately fell silent, and everyone's eyes widened. In just a month, his cultivation base has risen from the initial stage of the Sage stage to the intermediate stage of the Sage stage. Not the intermediate stage of the Sage stage, but the peak of the intermediate stage of the Sage stage. This cultivation speed is too terrifying. It's not just terrifying, it's simply shocking. This kid must not be allowed to live. He's too much of a threat. Everyone was shocked when they learned about Mo Qingyun's cultivation speed. They understood why Shao was so shocked. Given Mo Qingyun's cultivation speed, he would be able to break through to the celestial domain grade in 8 or 10 years. If Mo Qingyun broke through to the celestial domain grade, it would be a terrifying thing for the Big Dipper Dragon Rock tribe. When they thought of this, and the others were scared out of their wits. Their killing intent towards Mo Qingyun intensified. From today onwards, put aside all matters of the clan and focus on searching for the wild continent. After understanding Mo Qingyun's threat, immediately made a decision and issued orders to everyone. Mo Qingyun's threat was too great. They couldn't let him continue to grow. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to eat or sleep in peace. Yes. Hearing Shur Bahai's order, Shur Xiao and the others nodded, agreeing with his decision. Who could guarantee what level Mo Qingyun could reach if he continued to cultivate? Shur Bahai and the others continued to discuss the details of how to deal with Mo Qingyun on the Fortune mainland. After several days of crazy refining, many soul puppets appeared around Mo Qingyun's body. At this moment, Mo Qingyun, who was in the middle of refining, stopped. I'm finally done. Looking at the several soul puppets in front of him, Mo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile and quickly formed hand seals. When these hand seals entered the soul puppet's body, the aura emitted by the soul puppet immediately became fierce. Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, wind and clouds began to gather above Mo Qingyun. Waves of tribulation, lightning gathered, and emitted a terrifying pressure. Lightning arcs flickered in the air. Boom! Not long after, bolts of oppressive tribulation lightning struck down from the sky. Seeing the tribulation lightning falling, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn, and he immediately raised his hand to beckon them. Under Mo Qingyun's guidance, most of the tribulation lightning fell towards him, bombarding his body one after another. Refine for me. After being bombarded by the tribulation lightning, Mo Qingyun focused his mind and began to refine them. While Mo Qingyun was refining the tribulation lightning also battered his body, tempering his physical body. Enduring the tribulation lightning's tempering, Mo Qingyun's physical body strength had undergone a slight qualitative change. After this round of cultivation, my dragon origin tyrant body might reach perfection. Sensing the changes in his physical body, Mo Qingyun was overjoyed, and a strong sense of anticipation rose in his heart. Then, Mo Qingyun abandoned all distracting thoughts in his mind and immersed himself in cultivation. A few days later, the tribulation lightning that enveloped Mo Qingyun dissipated, leaving only a few small lightning arcs flashing on his body. Although these lightning arcs were small, the aura they emitted was extremely terrifying. What a pity. Just a little more and my dragon origin tyrant body will reach perfection. After withdrawing from his cultivation, Mo Qingyun sensed the progress of his dragon origin tyrant body. Mo Qingyun sighed and stopped thinking about it. He waved his hand to keep the soul puppet and said to himself, with the protection of these soul puppets, Wu Yo and the others should be safe in the future. I wonder how Yu Yang is doing? While keeping the soul puppet, Mo Qingyun thought of Long Yu Yang and decided to go and see him. When Mo Qingyun arrived outside Long Yu Yang's courtyard, he sensed a chaotic aura fluctuation in the courtyard. What a chaotic aura fluctuation. Something has gone wrong with Yu Yang's cultivation. Sensing the chaotic aura fluctuation, Mo Qingyun thought of a possibility and immediately rushed over to Long Yu Yang. Mo Qingyun didn't rush to make a move when he arrived beside Long Yu Yang. Instead, he observed from the side. He realized that although Long Yu Yang's cultivation had gone wrong, it wasn't out of his control. This little guy's personality is a little similar to mine. Looking at Long Yu Yang's performance, Mo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction and thought more highly of Long Yu Yang. Although something has gone wrong with his cultivation, this is also a test that he must go through. I wonder if he can get through it. With this thought, Mo Qingyun revealed an expectant look as he stood guard beside Long Yu Yang. With Long Yu Yang's talent and temperament, he might be able to take over the immortal palace of creation if he was properly nurtured. As his cultivation base continued to break through, Mo Qingyun increasingly felt that the time for him to leave the wasteland continent was fast approaching. If he left the wasteland continent, someone had to take over the immortal palace of creation. He hadn't thought of a suitable person yet. Originally, Mo Qingyun wanted ZK to take over the immortal palace of creation for him. But after seeing Long Yu Yang's performance, he changed his mind. Perhaps Long Yu Yang was more suitable. His aura has stabilized. As Mo Qingyun pondered, he realized that Long Yu Yang's aura was gradually stabilizing. This meant that Long Yuyang had passed the test and resolved the crisis of his cultivation. If that's the case, I'll give you a boost. Seeing that Long Yuyang's aura had stabilized, Mo Qingyun's praise for him became even more intense. Then, Mo Qingyun flipped his palm and pressed it against Long Yuyang's back. With a wave of Mo Qingyun's hand, a pure power of creation shot out from his palm. Under Mo Qingyun's control, the power of creation entered Long Yuyang's body and began to transform it. Chapter 2386. Long Yuyang was startled when he sensed the creation energy entering his body. His concentration was scattered. Seeing Long Yuyang's reaction, Mo Qingyun looked solemn and transmitted a message to him. Focus your mind and don't get distracted. I'll help you transform your physique. Okay. Long Yuyang nodded when he heard Mo Qingyun's words and immediately focused his attention. Then, Mo Qingyun guided Long Yuyang's Yuan Li to transform his body. As Long Yuyang's body was transformed, his meridians and acupoints were opened and strengthened one after another. During this process, Long Yuyang's cultivation base continued to rise. After a few hours, Mo Qingyun stopped the transformation and smiled satisfactorily. He thought to himself, with this, Yuyang's future cultivation should be twice the result with half the effort. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had stopped the transformation, Long Yuyang stopped his cultivation and immediately bowed to Mo Qingyun. Uncle Qingyun, thank you for transforming my physique. I'll remember this kindness in my heart. Okay. Mo Qingyun nodded indifferently at Long Yuyang's action and said with a serious face, Yuyang, I have high expectations for you. Cultivate well and don't let me down. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he turned around and left without saying anything else. Uncle, don't worry. I won't let you down. Looking at Mo Qingyun's back, Long Yuyang clenched his fist and promised Mo Qingyun loudly. While Long Yuyang was speaking, he sensed his cultivation and found that he had broken through to the Heaven Star Border Realm. Heaven Star Border Realm. Long Yuyang was shocked when he sensed his cultivation. His eyes widened, and he said in surprise, Uncle Qingyun is indeed a peerless genius. Just a casual move made my cultivation soar. I hope that I can have half of his achievements in the future. Long Yuyang didn't know that if Mo Qingyun was willing, he could help a break through to a higher level. However, this would affect his foundation and exhaust his potential, so Mo Qingyun didn't do it. Long Yuyang muttered to himself. He no longer thought about it, and once again immersed himself in cultivation. After leaving Long Yuyang's residence, Mo Qingyun went to find Yi Wuyo and the others to help them refine their soul puppets. Not long after, Mo Qingyun arrived at the residence of Yi Wuyo and the others and summoned them over. Qingyun, why are you looking for us so urgently? Sitting beside Mo Qingyun, Yi Wuyo revealed a curious expression and immediately asked Mo Qingyun. Hearing Yi Wuyo's words, Ruo Shui and the other women also had the same expression. Under the gazes of the women, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and waved, taking out several soul puppets, and said, These are the soul puppets I just refined. I'll help you refine them so that you can have the means to protect yourselves. Knowing the purpose of Mo Qingyun's visit, the women's faces lit up with joy, their eyes filled with gratitude. Get ready. I'll help you refine your soul puppets immediately. Mo Qingyun didn't want to delay and immediately instructed the women after taking out the soul puppets. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yi Wuyo and the others immediately got ready and began to refine these soul puppets. Seah, who had refined a soul puppet before, also joined in at this moment to refine a stronger soul puppet. After all, the soul puppet he refined before only had the strength of Sage Great Perfection. Although Sage Great Perfection wasn't weak, there were already Nebula Realm powerhouses on the Wasteland continent. In this way, the Sage Great Perfection soul puppet strength was clearly a little insufficient. In the Dark Spirit Realm Abyss, in the Blackwood Forest, the Blood Ancestor had been entangled with the red-shelled demonic insects for half a month but still didn't find anything. There were a few times when he clearly sensed the existence of blood, but was unable to find it. This made the blood ancestor very angry. Furthermore, as time passed, the number of red-shelled demonic insects chasing after him increased. On top of that, he had just woken up. After fighting for a long time, he was starting to feel weak. This made his situation less and less terrible and made him feel a little powerless. If this continues, I might not be able to break out of the encirclement if I get surrounded by red-shelled demonic insects again. Seeing his situation, the blood ancestor tightly frowned. A thought of retreating emerged in his heart. Although finding a powerful bloodline was important, it wasn't worth risking his life for it. Let's leave this place first. It won't be too late to continue searching after my cultivation recovers. The blood ancestor hesitated for a moment. Then he made a decision. He didn't want to continue staying in the Blackwood Forest. After the blood ancestor made his decision and prepared to leave the Blackwood Forest, the red-shelled demonic insects caught up to him again. These damned insects! Looking at the red-shelled demonic insects that caught up to him, the blood ancestor gnashed his teeth in anger. He immediately fled towards the purple fog and angrily said, "Wait until my cultivation recovers. The next time I come, I will definitely exterminate all of you." After saying this, the blood ancestor quickened his pace and quickly fled towards the purple fog. With his current state, if he was surrounded by the red-shelled demonic insects, it was very likely that he would die here. An hour later, under the blood ancestor's desperate escape, he arrived in front of the purple fog. Standing in front of the purple fog, the blood ancestor's face immediately darkened. His expression became tense. When Ziqingrong and the others left, they also took away the wooden barrel made of bloodthirsty poisonous willow. Without the wooden barrel made of bloodthirsty poisonous willow, he would have to pay a huge price if he wanted to pass through the purple fog. You can't escape. Looking at the blood ancestor, standing in front of the purple fog, the red-shelled demonic insect leader proudly said, and quickly approached him. Looking at the red-shelled demonic insects that were getting closer and closer, the blood ancestor's face darkened and his expression became tense. Now, he had no other choice but to rush into the purple fog. This old man will remember this. Just you wait. The blood ancestor roared angrily and rushed into the purple fog. He did not dare to stay for a moment longer. Seeing the blood ancestor rush into the purple fog, the red-shelled demonic insects stopped and did not continue to chase after him. For them, it was enough to force the blood ancestor to retreat. Moreover, the blood ancestor would also have to pay a price for this. After rushing into the purple fog, the blood ancestor felt a wave of poisonous gas seeping into his body. As the poisonous gas entered his body, the blood ancestor found that his feet began to itch intensely. "Damn you, Ziqingrong. When I return, I will definitely punish you severely." Feeling the itch on his feet, the blood ancestor roared angrily and wanted to kill Ziqingrong and the others. If Ziqingrong and the others had not escaped, he would not have ended up like this. Chapter 2387. One day later, the blood ancestor had finally escaped from the purple mist. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper. His aura had also become extremely chaotic, as if he would explode at any time. It seemed that when he passed through the purple mist, he had been greatly corroded by the poisonous mist. If it were not for his powerful cultivation, he would not have been able to hold on and escape from the purple mist. After escaping from the purple mist, the blood ancestor no longer felt the pressure of death. He immediately felt an intense itch on his feet. Feeling the itch on his feet, the blood ancestor gritted his teeth and tried to suppress it. No, this intense itch can't be suppressed by willpower. After a while, the blood ancestor gave up. He could not bear the itch at all. After discovering this, the blood ancestor's face turned ugly. His expression became ferocious as he roared, "Ziqingrong, when I recover my vitality, I will cut you into pieces." In the Blood Ancestor's opinion, if Zi Chungrong and the others had not taken away the wooden bucket, he would not have ended up like this. While the Blood Ancestor was angry, he became even more irritable. The intense itch on his feet made him unable to concentrate on cultivating, causing his injuries to be unable to recover. As a result, his injuries would get worse and worse, and it would even affect his future cultivation. Thinking of the terrible consequences caused by the itch, the Blood Ancestor gritted his teeth and made a difficult decision. The Blood Ancestor waved his right hand, and a blood-colored Saint Power Blade light blasted out from his palm. Slash! Under the bombardment of the Saint Power Blade, the Blood Ancestor's feet were immediately cut off and turned into a pool of blood in the blink of an eye. As his legs were chopped off, the intense itchiness also lessened. However, although the itch had weakened, a sharp pain came from his legs. Enduring the sharp pain in his legs, the Blood Ancestor sat down cross-legged and cultivated to recover from his injuries. While the Blood Ancestor was recovering from his injuries, he also regathered his feet and restored his physical body. A few days later, under the Blood Ancestor's wholehearted cultivation, his feet regathered. What made him feel desperate was that as his feet regathered, the itch appeared again. How could this be? Even cutting off his legs can't remove the poison? Seeing this, the Blood Ancestor was scared out of his wits, and his face instantly turned pale. Even cutting off his legs was unable to remove the poison. Didn't this mean that the poison would always be with him? As for cutting off his legs again, he didn't dare to do it again. Previously, he had already used up 10% of his cultivation to regenerate his feet. This kind of consumption was not something he could afford. To the Blood Ancestor's relief, although the itch was still there, it wasn't as bad as before. Let's go back and kill Zi Chungrong and the others first. Then, we can slowly think of a way to cure the poison. Suppressing the itch on his feet, the Blood Ancestor put on a gloomy expression and set off for the main branch of the Dark Demon race. If he did not kill Zi Chungrong and the others, he would not be able to vent his anger. Inside the Palace of Creation, after a few days, with Mo Qingyun's help, the girls finally refined the soul puppet. After helping the girls to refine the soul puppet, Mo Qingyun did not want to stay any longer. He got up and said to the girls, "You guys continue to cultivate and familiarize yourself with controlling the soul puppet. I'm going to the Green Thunder Illusory Land to cultivate." Now that his Dragon Source Overlord body had reached the peak of the Profound Realm, he could rush to the complete realm in one go. Previously, Mo Qingyun wanted to use the power of the Green Thunder Spiritual Pearl to help him cultivate the Wild Thunder Dragon Source Overlord body. Due to the delay, Mo Qingyun did not go to the Green Thunder Illusory Land. Now was a good time. After a while, Mo Qingyun came to the Green Thunder Illusory Land and found Qinglei. "Big brother, you're here." When Qinglei discovered that Mo Qingyun had entered Qinglei's illusion, he revealed a joyful smile and cheerfully went to greet him. In response to Qinglei's greeting, Mo Qingyun nodded with a faint smile and said, "Qinglei, I'm here today to ask for your help." "Big brother, just tell me what you need. I'll do my best to help you." In response to Mo Qingyun's request, Qinglei agreed without hesitation with an innocent smile on his face. Seeing Qinglei's attitude, Mo Qingyun did not beat around the bush and said directly, "The Wild Thunder Dragon Source Overlord body that I'm cultivating has reached a bottleneck. I need a large amount of Thunderbolt power to cultivate. I want you to release your Thunderbolt power to help me cultivate the Wild Thunder Dragon Source Overlord body to the complete realm." "Okay." In response to Mo Qingyun's request, Qinglei agreed without hesitation. He then revealed a naughty smile and said, "Big brother, this is what you asked for. When I release my Thunderbolt to bombard you, don't blame me for being ruthless." "Haha, I won't." In response to Qinglei's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile and walked to an open space. After Mo Qingyun sat down with his legs crossed, he nodded at Qinglei and asked Qinglei to release his Thunderbolt to bombard him. Boom! Under Qinglei's control, an imposing thunderbolt struck Mo Qingyun's body. Then, this bucket-sized thunderbolt swallowed Mo Qingyun like a hungry tiger. After releasing a thunderbolt to bombard Mo Qingyun, Qing Lei revealed a nervous expression and asked, "Big brother, how's the power of this thunderbolt? Isn't it a little too strong? It's not powerful enough. Increase the power of the thunderbolt." Hearing Qing Lei's question, Mo Qingyun shook his head and immediately instructed Qing Lei. Not powerful enough? Qing Lei was stunned by Mo Qingyun's words. However, he did not think too much about it. He immediately followed Mo Qingyun's instructions and released another thunderbolt to bombard Mo Qingyun. Then, an even more imposing thunderbolt struck Mo Qingyun's body. Not enough. Increase the power. Still not enough. Increase the power. Under Mo Qingyun's repeated requests, each thunderbolt released by Qing Lei was stronger than the previous one. As the thunderbolts released grew stronger, the shock on Qing Lei's face intensified. Big brother's body is too terrifying. The power of my thunderbolt is enough to shatter a cosmic cloud state divine weapon, but still can't do any damage to him. While Qing Lei was still in shock, Mo Qingyun blasted out another bolt of lightning that smashed onto Mo Qingyun's body. As this thunderbolt struck, Mo Qingyun's power suddenly surged. Big brother's body broke through. Qing Lei's expression changed when he sensed the change in Mo Qingyun's aura. His eyes widened as he said, "Doesn't that mean Big brother's body has become even stronger than before? Just how strong has it become?" Seeing that Mo Qingyun's body had improved, Qing Lei did not release any more thunderbolts. Instead, he curiously guarded by the side. Chapter 2388. A few days later, the Blood Ancestor arrived at the headquarters of the Dark Demon race. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper. Over the past few days, the poison in his feet had worsened. Now, the poison in his feet was even more serious than when he had just come out of the purple mist. If he had not cut off his feet and could not get rid of the poison in his feet, he would have cut them off long ago. More importantly, the poison in his feet had shown signs of spreading in the past few days. The Blood Ancestor shuddered at the thought of the poison spreading to his entire body. He was so depressed that he almost went crazy. Do I have to take over a body and be reborn? The Blood Ancestor's expression darkened when he saw the poison in his feet getting worse. He hesitated whether to do so. In his opinion, there was no other way but to seize a new body and be reborn. He had to give up his current physical body. However, if he took over a body and was reborn, his strength would be greatly reduced. This was not something he was willing to accept. Of course, the Blood Ancestor was still worried that he would not be able to get rid of the poison even if he took over a body and was reborn. He had no choice. This poison was too strange. He had to worry about it. I'll deal with Zi Qingrong and the others first before deciding whether to take over a body and be reborn. The Blood Ancestor thought for a while before he threw away all distracting thoughts and flew toward the headquarters. Soon, the Blood Ancestor arrived at the headquarters and coincidentally met Zi Cheng and the others. Blood Ancestor. The Blood Ancestor is seriously injured. Who did this? He must have encountered a powerful demonic insect in the dark spirit abyss. Look, the Blood Ancestor's feet are poisoned. This is the poison of the dark sky, corroding poisonous insect. The Blood Ancestor did not have a wooden bucket made of bloodthirsty, poisonous willow. He must have been poisoned by the purple mist. Zi Cheng and the others were shocked when they saw the Blood Ancestor. They whispered to each other. Purple Pestle and the others exchanged a few words before respectfully walking towards the Blood Ancestor. Greetings, Blood Ancestor. Zi Cheng and the others bowed when they arrived in front of the Blood Ancestor. However, the Blood Ancestor did not wait for them to finish speaking before he attacked them with his palm. Bang, bang, bang. Zi Cheng and the others were sent flying by the Blood Ancestor's attack. They were all severely injured and spat out blood. Upon being attacked by the Blood Ancestor, Z Pestle and the others were immediately alarmed and terrified. Blood, Blood Ancestor, please spare me. Please give me a chance to change my ways. Blood Ancestor, what did we do wrong to make you so angry? If we did something wrong, please let me fix it. Chapter 2389. With my current strength, I should be able to put up a fight against an early-stage galaxy great expert. Now that he knew how strong his physical body was, Mo Qingyun estimated his current combat strength. Mo Qingyun felt a lot more relaxed now that he knew how strong his combat strength was. He could protect himself now. With his current strength, even if he encountered a galaxy-grade expert from the Big Dipper Dragon Rock race, he would still be able to put up a fight. Seeing that his physical body had broken through, Mo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer. He turned to Qing Lei and said, Qing Lei, thank you for your help this time. I still have some matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave first. Okay. Qing Lei nodded when he heard Mo Qingyun's farewell. He didn't ask Mo Qingyun to stay. After coming out of the Qing Lei Mirage, Mo Qingyun went to the residence of Yi Wuyo and the other girls. He wanted to see how well they could control their soul puppets. When Mo Qingyun arrived at the residence of the girls, he saw them controlling their soul puppets and familiarizing themselves with using them to fight. Qingyun, you're here. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had arrived in the courtyard, the girls were delighted and went to welcome Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun nodded when he saw the girls in front of him. He said, I'm here to see how proficient you are in controlling your soul puppets. Do you want to give it a try? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yi Wuyo smiled slyly and winked at the other girls. Seeing the hint in Yi Wuyo's eyes, the other girls nodded and looked at him expectantly. They also wanted to control their soul puppets and spar with Mo Qingyun to test their strength. Sure. Mo Qingyun immediately nodded when he heard Yi Wuyo's suggestion. He smiled faintly and said, Since that's the case, I'll spar with you to improve your combat strength. Then you'd better be careful. Seeing Mo Qingyun readily agree, the women immediately became happy, and a sly look appeared on their faces. Then, the girls exchanged glances and attacked Mo Qingyun. Facing the joint attacks of the girls, Mo Qingyun stood calmly in the courtyard, easily blocking the attacks of the sprite trainer. With Mo Qingyun's help, the joint attack of the soul puppets was easily neutralized by him. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had easily neutralized their attacks, the women immediately became indignant and controlled their puppets to attack again. Clang, clang, clang. As Mo Qingyun and the puppet continued to exchange blows, a series of crisp sounds could be heard from the courtyard. After sparring with the girls, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of their shortcomings. He said, There's basically no problem for you to control the soul puppets to fight with others, but there's still a huge gap in the flexibility of using them in battle. You need to practice more in actual combat. Speaking of which, the merging of Long Han Yin and Qian Ling Long was definitely related to them. Therefore, these guys could not be spared. He had to kill them to vent his anger. You all continue to cultivate. I have something to take care of. After learning the identities of the statues, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste any more time and left after giving the girls some instructions. After leaving the girls' courtyard, Mo Qingyun asked with a serious expression, How far is the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm from here? How many days will it take to get there? Master, the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm is not far from the Cheonyo Immortal Realm. It will take at most 3 days to get there. ZK replied briefly to Mo Qingyun's question. He continued, Also, the person who came to report said that there was a strange phenomenon in the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm recently. It's very likely that a mysterious place is about to appear. Oh, a mysterious place is about to appear. Mo Qingyun's expression lit up when he heard ZK's words. Anticipation surged into his eyes. If that was the case, wouldn't he be able to kill two birds with one stone if he went to the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm now? Mo Qingyun was eager to go to the Nine Firmaments Immortal Realm when he thought about it. Go and gather everyone in the Great Meeting Hall. I have to tell them about going to the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm. Thinking about going to the Nine Heavens Immortal Realm, Mo Qingyun told ZK and immediately went to the Great Meeting Hall. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.